many miles we walk, the many things we learn, the building of the shrine, only just to burn. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. That's the way it is.
Your name? Glenn, right?
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah.
Glenn. Good to see you again. How are you doing?
You know, not too bad. Just kicking it. I have the day off, so enjoying some nice weather after last week's rain. We had like a couple days of rain down here, but that was a good thing because of the fires. And but other than that, just doing my thing. Just hanging out. Really, nothing much going on.
Right, the fires. Yeah, because that's in. How close was that to where you're at?
Los Angeles is about 120 miles north of where I'm at, so I didn't really feel any of the effects of them. We did have a fire in San Diego County last week, and there was a little smoke in the sky from that. But other than that, I did, experience the Santa Anas, of course. The day the fire started, we had gusts of wind down here as well, and fortunately, it didn't do anything here in San Diego. So, yeah, it was interesting. Actually, my surfboard, I usually put it on my car. I don't surf a lot, but I have a surfboard. And because I live in my RV, I put my surfboard on my car to just not have to take up space in the house. And it blew off the car. So the thing I've been taking so good care of now has a little ding on the tail. So I did experience a little loss there from the fire.
Right. Yeah, but you were not like right in the middle of it. But,
okay. No, that's way north. And yeah, that's... what I think about that? I'm pretty sure that a lot of homeless people had something to do with that. They're out there in the woods, out in the mountains camping, and they're setting fires, maybe even on purpose, perhaps. I mean, I just really feel that. A lot of people think that, so I'm not just the only person saying that, but it feels like that kind of happened.
Right. So, people are immediately saying that the volume is a bit low on your side. How do I fix that? Yeah, it's probably because your sound is coming through. Maybe if I turn the desktop sound back on. Let's see.
It's possible my speaker is being blocked where I'm sitting it. I'm trying to move it. Am I sounding better now?
Yeah, probably, but this might be giving a little bit of an echo. So let's ask the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, that's a great start.
Well, we could always test out, how things work and try it again, like another day.
No. It's not talking about that. I'm talking about the people visiting the chat. Great start. So got the first ban of the day.
Right.
But, I mean, on OBS it looks much better with the sound, so everything should be good. Yeah. Kumu Virus there also says it's fine.
Hey, Kumu Virus, all right.
Evil Knievel.
I know. He's always, he's fun sometimes. We've had a lot of experience with him. I know you know him really well. Yeah,
I mean, he hangs a little bit too much around pretty nasty trolls these days, but hey, that's his own business. Right, so what are we going to talk about?
Well, I figured I'd let you kind of lead, but I have my own ideas. I've got a few things that happened Okay, I'll just restart here. Okay, so last week, you know what happened? 2 weeks ago, I guess now, the AE map thing. That's why when we first talked like a couple weeks ago, you were like, let's do a show. And that was going on. But I really wanted to kind of sit back and just take it all in. And, that's something. I mean, I have a lot of things here, but okay, I'll just restart here. I mean, let's just start with this. You know what happened? What's up with Robert Shortman? Where is this guy gone? Does anybody even talk to him anymore?
I think he still hangs around some Discord forums sometimes, but I haven't really heard anything of him in a while. Last time I heard he was like, I don't know, very skittish, like not really wanting to associate and all that. So I don't know, maybe like the trolls just drove him nuts and he's like, I don't want to be anywhere close to that. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard from him in, I don't know, at least over 2 years.
Oh yeah, that's a long time. So I would be like, I would just like to ask him point blank, what's going on here? You said there was not a 24-hour sun, and come to find out that in the literature from the turn of the last century, the 19th century, the Robotham book talked about a 24-hour sun, and people like the Morgile were reading that book, doing like, he was reading the book online for a while. It's like, how come people weren't talking about that more? It's kind of interesting to me. I had to kind of figure that out for myself by just doing a little study at time and date. And I was pretty quickly like, wait a minute. The sun does appear to be coming from the south of east up in the summertime down in Australia, just like it does here in the, where I'm at in San Diego. And I was just like, what's going on here? So it's just interesting to me.
Hold on,
Nobody wanted to talk about it.
I'll keep going. I'm gonna try, because there's some echo. So I'm gonna actually put on these stupid headphones so there's no feedback. Woohoo! Keep going.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a better desk situation soon. I've been planning this move to the north for a while, and it's possibly gonna happen eventually here in the near future. So then I'll be able to, living in my RV here in San Diego, it's not convenient. You know what I mean? Having a desk and stuff, and my brother works opposite hours of me, but I don't like to do things around. You know what I mean? Like when I'm talking online, I'd rather be private. So eventually it's going to get better for me, but right now it's just the way it is.
Right, but I mean, I totally get it, because with all these crazy people around and trolls and I used to be like, screw it all, I'm just gonna be super personal and everything and out in the open. But I mean, they're still they wrote that shit down and they're still whining about it half a decade later, and ugh. So I totally get it. You don't really want to you can't just comfortably talk out in the open like that.
And it's just, go ahead. Sorry.
So I totally get it. It's different. When we chat personally, just alone, you could just go, bang, everything. Don't really have to be so careful. But
well, I'm not too worried about my brother, actually. My brother is totally on board. He knows. He's like your dad. I got to talk to him long enough about things, and he gets it. He's definitely a flat earther.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is. No, he's cool. He gets it. He doesn't study it like I do. He doesn't, listen to shows constantly like I do, but he definitely understands it because I've told him enough things, explain things, the Nathan Oakley stuff especially. I mean, before that even, he was already, on board with it because, there's nothing that makes sense about the globe. I mean, it makes sense to globers, of course, but I don't think so personally. We're just rehashing stuff. It gets kind of old, honestly, but you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, with personal people, from your own life, that's a whole different thing, of course. Yeah. I'm more talking about just being open online because, that's just, you got to be careful with sharing more personal details and all that.
Oh, yes. I went through my Facebook recently and just erased everything that was controversial because I realize now, they're gonna use that against me if I go to look for a job. they're going to look at my Facebook posts and they're going to say, hey, what the hell is this? This guy's talking about flat Earth, and I'm probably not going to get the job. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Right. Yeah, I have no idea if they even care about that here. It's not really relevant. It's just if you're like a person that's like going on the work floor and bothering people with it and they get freak out, like that's something that employees don't like, but that's like going to be marked on the record and all that. That's different from, hey, yeah, on the side I talk about weird occult shit. I mean, lots of people do that as long as you keep it to yourself.
It's also political stuff,
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of people I work with, they're Democrats, and I definitely used to be a Democrat, and I stopped believing in those people a long time ago, actually, when I found Ron Paul. And now Trump came along, and it's like, the one thing I like about him is that everybody hates him, especially political elites. And I actually voted for a president this year for the first time in as long as I can remember. I think the last time I voted, I wrote in Ron Paul, probably in 2008 or 2004.
Yeah, I was there too, like on the internet. Like, it was just around the time that I was getting into Alex Jones and like being subscribed to his prisonplanet.tv back then to get his live streams. That's how we started out. And then like learned about Ron Paul was really big back then. The whole End the Fed. He was like the forerunner of that. Then the End the Fed movement, Occupy Wall Street and all that. That was a really big thing back then.
What's funny is the first time I ever saw Ron Paul was on Meet the Press. I didn't know about him until I saw him talking to I think the guy's name was Tim Russert. He's the guy that died in his 50s. He had the crazy eyes. I don't know if you remember that guy, but I remember listening to Ron Paul and thinking, my God, this guy makes so much sense. I'm getting tired of these wars. This was during George Bush times. Anyways, that was just the beginning of me just giving up on both parties. I realized that they're on the same side. Then Trump comes along. At first, I'm thinking, this is just a joke. He's trolling the world. And then just the more I've watched him, it's just like he actually does care about the country, it seems like. And I know he has some ties. We talked about this last night.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious. I talk about it on my show carefully, but honestly. So, yeah. I mean, you're never going to get that perfect figure at the forefront. That just doesn't happen. The international entanglements are just too big. Right. So this is just a core. This is a way to basically achieve, on the short run at least, an improvement. And then it's like, then we'll have to see what to do next. Right.
Right. He brought Elon Musk in, of course.
Right.
And okay, I mean, we've been through this thing for 10 years, so we know what we all think about Musk, remember, Matt Powerland back in the day talking about he's such a child actor and stuff like that. And then, the Mars stuff, it's a crazy world. I don't know what to think. That's why I've kind of backed off in a lot of ways. Just like you wanted to do a show for a while, and every day I wake up and I'm like, oh God, what am I going to talk about? I don't even know. It's like, after it's just, there's so much conflicting information out there that, you know what I mean? It gets frustrating. I don't have much to say.
Everybody that, like, all the ones that are like at least trying to do a good thing, they all have their issues. And like, even amongst each other, they are like, I don't like that about him, and I don't really like this about that guy. But I mean, as long as they're doing it.
Why does that matter is what I wonder. It's like, dude, we're trying to like fix the economy and stuff.
Right.
Who cares if somebody gets along? It's like, isn't there more important things to do? But I guess they're elites and they don't have to worry about the same things we have to worry about. $100 to Donald Trump goes straight into the bank. $100 in your hands or my hands gets spent.
Right. And I mean, I don't really know what happens with their money. I just know that they are there is a real serious reform happening. And like, I get to follow it through Alex Jones that I still watch, who's been like super hyped up recently, which is totally unsurprising about it all. With his victory outcries and all that. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting. And I was very skeptical at the start. but
Right.
just the amount of things like where they're really doing their best, like they're actually really doing their best, and they have their objectives and the things that they want to do with the liberation that they're performing. But I mean, the liberation is happening, and so it doesn't mean that we're all gonna be like mind control enslaved again in a different way. Like, it doesn't feel like that. I feel that they're really struggling to give us freedom and then just hope to offer their brand and we'll take it, kind of thing. And probably plenty of people will. Like, a lot of people are like, yeah, we want to see some kind of Mars landing. Like, it sounds silly, but being a flat earther, I kind of want to see it. It's like, yeah, come on, you can do better than the moon landing. I mean, come on, what is this? It's an embarrassment. You can fake this way better. You can do it. Just do it.
They're definitely gonna have to fake it.
Yeah, duh. It can't be real, but that's like the dream factory, right? It doesn't always have to be a nightmare. It could just be a magnificent fantasy of another world that is pretended to be real, like a living fairy tale.
I'm all in. I'm with you there. It's like, yeah, sure. I like Star Wars too and Star Trek and all the space. I'm with you there. It's like, yeah, fine. Let's just enjoy this fantasy and let everybody else just not really know what's going on. I mean, they don't care because they got a lot to do. I get it. People like you and me, I don't have any children. I have no ex-wives. I don't owe any alimony to anybody. I have no illegitimate children. So I have more time to actually study. And I think a lot of people just don't. And that's what it boils down to. So, yeah. I'm good with it, It's like, let everybody be fooled and I'll know the truth. I don't need to shout it at the rooftops anymore. I used to think that way, but I realize it now. People just want to be let alone. They want to do what they're doing. I don't get it, honestly. I don't understand why people wouldn't see reality. Okay, I know that Akumu's probably going crazy right now, but seriously, the second law of thermodynamics violation, the sky vacuum thing. It's like, guys, we can't even go there because of that. We wouldn't have gas to breathe. Why doesn't that resonate with people? Why don't they get that?
Because the second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to the Earth, as Rumpus used to say, remember?
Right.
Right? It's okay. Yeah. Everything is possible in space.
Right. This is why this is frustrating. I refuse to debate these people. They've asked me, a couple of the bigger ones, to debate them. And I'm like, hell no, because I don't have the patience for it. I'm not Nathan Oakley. And no, I just don't. I can't stand when people are being ignorant in front of me. I can't take it.
Well, let me give you a heads up. Neither is Nathan. Nathan doesn't have the patience for it either. He just uses it for his meat grinder thing. That's it. He does not listen to them. He just lets them in, lets them violate the situation, and then just gnaw them down.
Unfortunately, the outsiders, whenever I try to show somebody this kind of thing, and it has been a while since I've done that, honestly, his bedside manner, I think we talked about this last time too, is that the way he yells, and it's just not going to,
you mean
it's hopeless. That's all I got to say. It's
talk about the flat Earth debate now, or?
Yeah, I'll send people to the channel, FED. Then they hear Nathan just yelling and beriding people, and it's over. You know what I mean? It's just, they can't take that. They think he's an asshole, like all the little trolls that come over there, like, oh, I can't even speak, and blah, blah, blah. Well, you're not saying anything intelligent is why. You're not, listening to the logical arguments. So Nathan is cutting you off so you can't just go ramble on and lead us down a bunch of red herring trails and, obfuscate like you like to do. And then they act like, oh, well, he's such a bad guy for that. And it's like, no, you're just not listening to reason and not you understand what I'm saying? It's like they refuse to. And
right.
I don't understand. I don't know if these people are actual planted, like psyop people, or if they're really that stupid.
Yes.
I'm not really sure what to think.
No, they are, but it's like a choice. It's like they are choosing to stay suspended in the dream, and their intelligence can be made to keep them there.
Yeah, I agree with that, because it can't be anything else, honestly.
I don't think most of them, maybe a few of them that we come across are actually from the government, but I would imagine that most of them aren't, because I've experienced it firsthand when I talk to people. The cog disc kicks in. My sister's one of them, just ain't gonna listen. It's like la 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 la. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you don't accomplish anything. Look, I have an idea that there probably have been and still are like supposed government people that are basically setting out to try to infiltrate. But then when they realize what it actually is, they freak out so much that they're just like, oh, nope, I'm out. They realize like, oh shit, like this is something, like they don't expect that it actually turns out to be real kind of thing, right?
Could be.
Including with the psychology, and it's like too shocking. And so they just turn away. It's really more the SJW types. Like, I have a suspicion that Brenda, you might remember him, her, she, whatever that is, like, she probably has ties, right? She's such a bureaucrat. I mean, she could, like, I've even told her, like, wow, you are so good at doing this. Like, you'd make a pretty good governor in the Democratic Party, like probably better than their average representative, because you're like really good at this game that they play. And like she'll defend 9/11, the official story and shit, just without any remorse. That kind of thing. So she's like, like she could do it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point she'll show up like in the Democratic Party somewhere. And be like, what the fuck? Is that Brenda? Oh shit!
She is certainly a disturbing person. Just the face, the eyes, everything about that person. It freaks me out. I really kind of tune out whenever that character.
I know what you mean, but to be,
I can't take it.
I get it, but to be fair, and it's just being obtuse about it, but for a transgender, I've seen worse, like way worse. Like she does. It's like, I could tolerate it if she wasn't such a horrendous Marxist-rooted statist all the time. But she is, and she's like unrelenting with that, and that really makes it like terrible. But I mean, for the rest, it's like, oh yeah, it's just one of those people. Like, they're not all bad. Like, I had a friend like that who was, to be fair, a lot uglier, but like very intelligent person that has a lot of depth and wisdom to them, and had really enjoyed conversations with her. So until eventually,
it's good to have an adversarial, like a friend that you can debate a little bit with. I had a friend back in high school, and a little bit after high school days. He's a computer programmer like your brother. And I tried to, get in touch with him a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago, talking about this subject, and he just wasn't having it. But we used to have some great talks about, like spirituality, what is God? What are we here for? Things like that. And he was not the same guy anymore. That was really disturbing to me. It was like, we used to be able to bring up topics, any topic, and talk about it, but he's totally sold out now. I think it's the computer programming thing. I think those guys that get into that, it changes you as a person, because it's just so bland. I mean, it's a different language. I tried computer programming and I hated it. I thought it was as boring as anything could be. I mean, I would rather do calculus than computer programming.
Right. Well, computer programmers is its own type that, like, you have to have a certain type of stability and consistency to be able to do it right. But I also know that there's like really good programmers, and they can be real bullies, right? So
well, imagine
if you're like,
because they have that power.
If you, as like among programmers, you get too open with like your ideas, like they can really start to like basically troll you and shit, and like completely break you down. That is also among programmers. So that could be part of the reason. Like,
I think so.
Because if you want to do that job and you want to keep doing it and you want to get the good ones, like you just basically have to not show anything about any opinion. Because if you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, they could like really screw you over.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know as much as you do, perhaps. But I can see that.
It's such a heated market now. Like, with the chat GPT coming out, and like you have to be like really top notch somehow to be able to even compete properly. So the competition has just become really brutal. Used to be a time where it's like, oh, where everybody's desperate for programmers because it's like, oh, it's the internet and it's just a thing. But now that part is over. So now suddenly the competition is just way higher, logically. Yeah. Like I haven't like asked my brother, and this is just logical deduction of like how the world's developed. So
yeah, I had a friend way back when I was going to school here in San Diego. I left for about 10 years and went back to Oregon. So I was going to school here in the 90s, going to college, and I was trying to do the programming thing, and I was telling a friend of mine who was passing through town from Oregon. He was going to Mexico on a trip. And I told him, yeah, I'm doing some programming stuff. And he told me, he was like, isn't that just going to be like basically like almost like common labor in the future? And you're just going to be basically, you know, getting paid less because there's so many people doing it. And I thought about that, and I was like, you know, he's right, because this is such a pain in the ass that I don't want to just be part of a group, like too many workers, I guess. So it scared me away because it was too much work for what you would end up getting. Knowing, like, looking out, they're laying them off left and right. I mean, tech workers are getting just put on the streets. That's not a good thing, you know? I mean, if that's what you wanted to do for a living, you put all that work into it, and then there's like casting you off now like you don't even matter. He was right. I mean, that's why I just stopped even worrying about being that guy. I just wanted to go do normal subjects. You know, I was doing journalism. That was the last thing because it seemed so easy. It's fun. It's easy. I just wanted to work for like ESPN or something, and because I like, you know, all sports. I played sports. So that was my goal. And then, you know, other things happened, basically women and stuff. And, but I'm fine. I've never really been poor. I'm fortunate because my family has some property and stuff. I've had a couple of inheritances, so I've been able to just kind of piece my life together as a server, like a waiter, a lot of times, and I've done other jobs and stuff. But you know, I know these guys all think we're idiots, but a lot of us, we just don't give a shit. I mean, it's like I could try to be more, but I just don't care. I just don't really like money that much. I like it enough in that, like, it helps me survive. And I'd like a few extra bucks, but it's never been an obsession of mine to get a lot of money, get a big house, a nice car, a nice wife. It's always seemed like too much of a hassle to me. A little off topic there, I guess. I kind of ranted. But
there's somebody in the chat right now who's like apparently a programmer, and he says that ChatGPT is not a threat because it produces awful code.
Well, I don't doubt that. I mean, it is programmed by people too, you know. I mean, it's like, what is AI going to be without people? It's nothing.
Right. And hey, I'm not saying like, hey, programmers are going to be completely outdated. Absolutely not. I've even stated that like way, like 2 years ago or something. Like, it's not really a threat because it's just an emulator. But the thing is that it's so easily just can use standardized modules. Like, it can pick from programming, like do the really basic programming and just quickly put something together, like almost instantaneously, that, yeah, it may not be perfect, but it might be functional, right? And so the programmers are expensive, and there will be people that are like, I just need something quick. And then they can do that without having to spend money on a programmer to quickly put something good together and like risk that they're actually not that good or whatever. And just have a standardized program that's just like, I need this, this, and this, and this, and it's just, floop, it's there. And maybe have to smoothen the edges or something, but it saves money, and that's the reason. Like, yeah, programming will be more shitty, but it's super cheap, so it will still be done, right? And that's just the facts. So, yeah, of course, there's always going to be, like, actual really good programmers needed, especially when there's, like, no, this needs to be a perfect thing. Like, then you're going to need a from-scratch programmer that just really knows their field.
That's good to know. I mean, I believe that, too. I know that they've spent a lot of money on AI, and they're not making the money back from it. So, I don't know. It's just like, why even... I'm not even that impressed by it. You know, it's like you get faster answers, perhaps, but I think they showed it on Nathan's show how they AI will try to tell you how things are, right?
Right.
And then you have to keep questioning it and basically cornering it like a logical argument, cornering the AI like you would do a person.
Yeah, like a baller, except you can force them to be honest, unlike with actual ballers.
That's awesome. I know, right?
Right, you can do that with a baller, but they will always keep evading. The ChatGPT, you can actually force them to answer honestly. A baller just can't do that.
Yeah, that is cool. I know, right? I know, and they've done it, and it's amazing that people have not seen this. That, guys like, what's his name? 10th Man has done it, and somebody else on the show did it. But people don't even know about this. It's like they haven't heard about it, and they never will probably because of the censorship. And maybe even a lot of people couldn't even accept that, that he outsmarted, AI, cornered it, got it to admit its faults. A lot of people might not even be able to wrap their head around that. I don't know why, but again, it is what it is, I guess.
Well, the thing is, because of the blatant political programming that also went into these public modules, like ChatGPT, because that was spotted right away, a lot of people per default just like, oh, if this doesn't match the way that I see the world, the results, they will just immediately discard it as this is political manipulation somehow, right? And there's tons of people that probably have that response even to the inquiry by flat earth debaters, because they seriously believe that flat earth is like a CIA psyop. They really, really believe that. And you can't convince them otherwise. So they'll just see it like that, like, oh, it's a CIA programming. They want us to make us believe that it's flat, and then, then you're doomed.
My understanding that a psyop is supposed to pretty much affect at least 80% of the population, maybe, at least half. And I'm not seeing that from Flat Earth. I'm not seeing half the people going along and being, oh yeah, we believe this now, or think this, or whatever. No, it's not happening. So it's definitely not a psyop. It doesn't even fit any of the bills of psyop. The psyop is on the other side, the people that are trying to censor it. That's the psyop. I don't know if you watched Nathan's recent show. I'd seen this video just before I watched his show where they were covering this guy who apparently worked for the government and doing psyops and recognizing psyops. Have you watched that one yet?
No, I haven't really watched any Nathan Oakley.
I was wondering if you're in there kind of watching. I mean, I like to watch the show because it's just information, and it's, I just like to keep myself brushed up so that I don't, because it's really easy to just if you get away from Flat Earth for too long, it's easy to fall back into society kind of. You have to keep reminding yourself of the arguments, what's going on. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I get it. You want to stay up to date. I mean, but for me, it's like I've learned so many things and I've kind of gone into my own direction. And they are rejecting that direction. Like they've done that to my face. And so it's like, whatever they're doing, that's so cool. I don't need it. Like, I really don't. Like, the arguments that I have are totally foolproof. And ballers might try to gaslight me that it's an Oakley argument or whatever, but it's like, no. It's like, I'm done.
It's an Oakley argument, or is it just reality? That's what it is. It's not an Oakley argument.
Or the QE method, right?
Yeah. All right. They mentioned the other day, actually, on the one they were watching the Toon guy losing it. And he was talking, now I guess his name is just Toon, but
no.
He was talking with Red's Rhetoric, and they were talking about their final experiment and talking about, they were basically straw manning left and right, acting like everybody's so up in arms and so freaked out. And those of us who are Nathan Oakley crew type people, know the logical arguments. We're not freaking out. We're just like, yeah, whatever, 24-hour sun, fine. It's like, so does that make water curve? I mean, dude, but anyways, they mentioned you. They were talking about how they drove you off. They mentioned Arwen. That was on, I think, yesterday's show or the day before.
Oh, so everybody's always bragging about having manipulated me to do something. Oh, I'm their puppet. Why?
Zetetic Warrior also mentioned you. I don't know. I wasn't familiar with this guy, Zetetic Warrior. I'd heard that name Zetetic, but I think it was a different channel back in the early days. But he comes along out of nowhere. I didn't even know he existed, but he's the guy that came out and talked about how he already knew about the 24-hour sun. At any rate, he mentioned you as well on one of his videos. It's like, and everybody likes Arwen, you know, blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember the whole thing, but they have been mentioning you. Oh, yeah.
Everybody likes... they do?
Well, they all like you, man. And I never even really knew much about you. When I first watched the show, the FED, you were annoying me too, because you were just like playing devil's advocate. And I was like, who's this guy? And then I started figuring out, oh, I see. He's just trying to, you know, he's doing the Baldwin thing. I didn't know Baldwin, but I mean, I got what you were doing. You were just playing devil's advocate to kind of get people to debate better.
Well, and to help everybody understand the psychology of the baller. Beyond what I have to say, I mean, the understanding from the flat earthers at the time was not, they were like really overgeneralizing. And I was like, no, you don't get it. Like, you're not dealing with their insanity properly because you're not understanding how this works. Here, let me show you. This is how it works. And they were like, what is this? Like, is he secretly a baller all this time? It's like, no, I just understand how that works. And like, I can live it. I can subtly feel like it's real again and just do what they do. And then even explain it.
The day that you left, I remember that day too. I was listening live. And the day you left, it was really weird. It was like, you weren't even really doing Baldwin. All you did was they were reviewing a video and you said, what's this guy's deal? And then right away, Nathan just lit into you. And I was a little surprised by that. I guess it was a planned thing. It was already, he was just waiting for the right moment to drop the hammer. And it was unfortunate because I understand where he was coming from. He just wants his channel and he wanted to go about the arguments this way. No more talking of other things. Let's just get off on the front foot. I get all that. But I mean, I think he mistreated you there because that really didn't seem fair to me.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's all so long ago. I'm already completely out of it. Like, that's literally like last year's issues.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I am very self-sufficient now in that sense. And the whole social dynamics that was there kind of in the background, it was almost every time something like that happened, it's like you snap out of the spell of like how it is at FED. And like, I was just, no, I'm not just a puppet. It just made me feel like a puppet. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't want to be treated like that. I don't want to be punished for falling out of line, which I'm really not doing. I'm not being obtuse or anything. It's just sometimes I see things and then I think like this, do you see it too? Right? And like a lot of it is psychological study for me. It always has been. So, and it's important.
You did the right thing walking away. And I even said that back then. You might not remember, but I was like in chat. I was like, I like it. I like what you're doing. Do your own thing. Go your own way. You don't need these guys. You've already made your reputation there. And, you know, like there's a lot of people there anyways. I mean, you know what I mean? You did the right thing. At least you could just be yourself. And I did want to hear more of Arwen back in those days. I was like, you know, when you would talk and people would cut you off, I'd be like, wait, let him talk. He was on to something. And they do that to a lot of guys there. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of guys that would be like starting to say something and then somebody just blabs over him. And it's like, dude, he was saying something. Shut the hell up. You know, let him finish the sentence. And I get where Nathan's coming from because it's his channel and he wants to make a living at it. So fine, that's fair enough. But I mean, there's a lot of people that don't get to say, they're saying something and you want to hear more and they just get cut off. And I love the show though. I was mad at Neil. You saw that video a while back. Mm-hmm. I was pretty pissed off at him for just he took that damn guy's side in chat. I don't know. Okay, look, I'm sorry. I'm going to say the name, Parrot. But there's so many of those guys. I don't know if he controls all the channels.
No.
But there's a Tarot 006 or something that goes there. And apparently that's a flat earther. And that's the guy. But he's fighting with me about you. Every time I go there, they just come after me and say really rude things.
Yeah, because you're a friend of mine.
But that's bullshit, man. I'm there to just watch FED and you know, make a comment here and agree with something or just chime in. I don't need guys like, it's just, what is his problem? he's obsessed. He's crazy. That's just, I mean, it's, and then Neil took his side, because all I told him was like, dude, just, if you can't handle Arwen, man, maybe grow a pair of balls. And that's all I said. And I got kicked out of there, and I was like, dude, I'm a member and everything. So I just took my membership away. Eventually I'll get Nathan some money, I'll make up for it. But I just had to make a point of that, just to say, hey, you can't just treat patrons like this, And I don't know enough about it. I don't go there enough to actually know all the characters and stuff.
I don't know what the hell they were doing, but they were like letting all that shit just keep going, and like they forbade me to ban trolls at some point. That was before I left. Like, and so
that is your forte. Maybe they didn't want you to do what you do on your show. Because everybody gets a ban.
No, but I don't ban everybody. That's nonsense. I mean, I might during my own show when I'm cranky, and it's like, oh, he's cranky. What a good time. Let's criticize him on some stupid nonsense thing, or that they don't think I'm doing it right. And then like, yeah, what do you think is going to happen now that you just did that? I mean, I didn't do that on Nathan's show. It's just like people that are just like, Arwen is, or he's so gay, or all this shit that never really happened. And like, yeah, that's slander. It's really annoying. Like, can I please just remove that? And they would literally say, no, you can't. And then I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like,
dude, it's childish. And that's it. Tarot, I know you're listening. You're childish. You need to get a life. You need to just chill out, figure something out, because you're wasting your time doing this stuff. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, well, I've discontinued addressing that guy on anything because he doesn't listen anyway.
It just comes after me every time I go on to another channel, and that's why I know him and mention him. I don't care about him. I really don't.
He does it with everybody, though.
Anyway.
He does it with everybody. Like, even recently, I was just casually watching, because I still sometimes watch stuff on YouTube, even live streams like QEs, and like, yeah, let's just see what they're doing. And last time I was looking, and it's like, hey, Jade Orange was there, right? It's a pretty recent person that likes to hang around my channel. I'm just looking there like, hey, Jade Orange. And immediately Tara, like, what the fuck? Dude. Like, he was steadily whining about me, and like, I wasn't even there. Nobody knew I was watching, and like, holy shit, dude, can't leave the other channels alone about me. Like,
I'm thinking this guy probably weighs about 280 pounds. He's in a wheelchair.
No, he's Indian.
With a bag of Cheetos on the desk. No, seriously, he's probably that kind of guy. I don't know how he can be so hateful and so just like persistent. It's insane to me. But I'm kidding, of course. I mean, I'm half kidding. I don't know what you think about him. I mean, maybe you have you know more than me a lot of times about these things. I don't know as much.
I think he's just insufferably jealous somehow.
That's twisted right there.
Yeah, but I mean, he is pretty damn twisted if you really just look at what he's doing all the time.
What happened to him? I mean,
I don't know. He just became like a freaking obsessed guy that's always like, it just seems like he's always just trying to befriend anyone that I like, just to like get me away from. He wants to isolate me. Like that, I can see it. I can see that that's what he's trying to do. He's like just trying to make everybody irritated with me.
Yeah, right.
But I can't understand that people are just like, can't we just ban people that just bring him up? Like, I'd be okay with that.
No, I didn't mean to bring his name. I know how much you hate that name, so we're done with it too. I won't mention it in chat. Like, I know, I get it. I mean, obviously, it's really traumatizing to you because the way these guys just.
Oh my god! Oh, look at this shit.
All right, is it bombed?
I don't know. It's just this asshat. I don't know who the fuck this is. Service Day. But he has full-blown evidence. He's writing my full name, that I'm actually a transgender agent serving the devil. Seriously, he just said that.
Makes sense, actually. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I could see that.
It's flat smacked, by the way. Yeah, good one, Arg. Arg has recognized him. It was I banned flat smacked a while ago because he's like doing that, and like, could you please clarify? Like, I want to know how you came to that conclusion. Other than that, I have like had like weird, you could argue, gender confusion related psychological issues for a while, right? That I have even addressed, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely know I'm a man. I definitely want to keep my schlong, and women definitely arouse me. So it's like, yeah, I don't get it. Like, why?
It's just hate, I guess. It's
no,
just
but I
hatred,
want to
but
know.
maybe
I want to know why they think that.
Yeah, well, I think that what people do is they see a weakness or something that you're just, something like you talk about yourself, and they know that it's a point of like stress for you, I guess. I'm not articulating.
Yeah, but it
very
isn't.
well right now. Well,
that's the whole weird thing. It's like, oh, I'm a transgender. Like, am I?
Absolutely not. So you had that.
No, but it's not even, dude. I'm not like, oh, it's mom. I'm not that guy.
Right.
So it's like, I'm a dude. I may have had weird internal thoughts and feelings and like confusion at some point. And it doesn't matter because that's not there anymore. I figured it out.
Exactly.
And so it's like, it's not an insult to me. And like, I am not even insulted by transgender people. I'm just insulted by those that are like obsessed, like against cisgenders and that are like completely Marxist in all this bullshit. Like, I hate that. I don't even hate transgenders. It's just like, oh yeah, you got some issues, but I mean, everybody has issues of some kind. As long as you don't bother my kids, if I'd had any.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I work with gay men in the waiting table business. In the restaurant business. You're going to work with gay men. And they've never put me off in any way. They're different. They're kind of funny. They're very emotional a lot of times. So am I sometimes, but I'm more angry. They're just more like they come in a mess kind of. And I've worked with some guys that are quite obviously gay, and I don't have any problem with them. I'm friends with them. I have no fear of them. I know they're not like, they see me as a hetero. They know I'm not like interested. So I never I think some people maybe flip out about you being homophobic because you say that a lot. And that I personally don't understand. Maybe I don't understand what homophobia really means.
Well, homophobia is like, I can't really deal with it kind of thing.
But you can talk to a gay person without issue, right?
As long as I'm not like really conscious that they're gay. It's
okay, well, I mean, I don't know why that would be a problem for you.
Because flamingness and all that, it like that spirit, it like gives like a physical repulsive effect on me. Like it makes me nauseated.
I get you. So when you talk to a gay person, actually really talk to them, they actually have the ability to not be flamboyant and crazy. Like they'll actually talk to you like we're talking right now. They can snap out of it, is my point. So it's not always like you're not talking to somebody who's all like flipping their hands around and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. It's not what you think. Maybe. I mean, maybe you just haven't. I don't know. I honestly don't know your story. I wouldn't worry about them that much, is my point. I wouldn't let that get to me too much because they really aren't a threat as long as they're not like pedophiles. You know what I mean? They're disturbed, yeah. I mean, I think that they actually probably, I don't know how they became gay. Maybe they're born. I'm not really sure, but.
Well, if if he is who he says, like the way that he's talking, oh, we met? Oh, so you are Dutch Sailor then, the guy that is gay and who's been like trying to somehow make me do something like that. It's total bullshit. It's just projecting his shit on me. Like, well, the guy has actually made moves on me, and I just like, it's like, no, and like, don't do that again. Don't show that to me, like, because I erase it from my mind. Like,
yeah. No, when I was younger, that happened a lot. You'd get approached, and so I understand that it is creepy, and I don't know the whole story. It's not even a good topic, honestly. I think we should move on.
Yeah, well, it's kind of tough because he's like in chat just blabbering on and like giving a full expose of like what kind of a guy he really is. I guess we're just never really gonna meet again. I mean, I really do appreciate the monitor you brought me last time, and then sort of threatened me. Like, They like gave me a present that I'm using right now. I'm really thankful, and like then threatened me in that same moment. It's like, okay, there's something not right, dude. There's something not right with you. You gotta chill. I think you're going psychotic. Like, that's psychosis. You should cut down on the smoking. It's not helping. He's already... The last time he completely flipped out in the chat, I had to kick him out. He was smoking. He literally said it. And I should have said, like, don't do that. Maybe I even did.
Smoking what?
Weed.
Oh, okay.
Like, when you're actually having psychotic episodes like that, then you shouldn't be smoking in such a period. Like, you need to then first stop doing that, then compose yourself, get back to reality, and stop acting like a freak. This is insane. Yeah, in the eyes of God, yeah, you're nuts. And stop freaking obsessing over this imagination of yours that I try to kiss you, you fucking insane person. I didn't.
This guy said you did that in recent times?
Well, that must have been like, when was that culture boat? I think it's like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I mean, the guy has like helped me out.
Okay, I wasn't around back then. I actually started watching your channel just about 2 years ago. Believe it or not. I know it seems like I've been around longer, but honestly, I didn't actually join your channel until, almost 2 years. It's almost your birthday again, because I remember it was right around your birthday. You just quit drinking. That was 2 years ago. And anyway, so I wasn't around before. I didn't know about this guy. I didn't know about all this stuff, because I've pretty much watched all your shows since and pretty on top of all that.
Yeah. Like, what the hell, man?
You're reading the chat, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, he just keeps rambling, and I'm like, I just kind of want him to stop because it's just tiresome, like kicking him out of there every time. I just want him to like just cool it off and just act like a normal human being again, and stop.
Is anybody talking
stop
with him,
freaking out over this insane shit that you're like obviously getting obsessed over with transgenders and pedos and Satanists. Like, dude, I'm not into that. Like, really not.
So here's a question for you, just to kind of try to change the topic back to the sun thing. What did you think they were going to find down there when they went? If they actually went, I don't know. I'm not one of these people that says it's faked. It could very well could be, but what was your thought? I mean, did you think they were going to be, confirmed and there is no 24-hour sun?
Sorry, say again.
No, did you really think that they were going to see a 24-hour sun when they went down there? What was your thoughts? Because I know they tried to corner Nathan on this one and say, well, you thought it was going to be a 24-hour sun. I've always been of the mind that I don't know, and I haven't gone there. And after I looked at time and date and did that study for a couple of days, and I called Jaron and Dave Weiss on their show, like back in 2021, and tried to bring this topic up, and they were like, Dave basically was like, I don't know about that. That's what he said. And then they hung up on me. So I've always kept my mouth shut on that. I've always thought, well, I mean, if they go down there, I don't know what to think. I never really had an opinion. I was just keeping my mind open to whatever. But I wasn't aware of the Robotham book mentioning a 24-hour sun. That was something that people should have been talking about, because we've known about that damn book for a long time. Why wasn't this out there? People talking about it.
Right. Well, let me answer. Sorry. Like, I didn't even know that, by the way, about the Robotham book. But I honestly think that it would be like canceled last minute. I really didn't think that they would do it. I think that it was just a boondoggle. And I didn't expect like anything to happen. So it was like, oh, they're doing it? Oh, okay. Then later I'm hearing like, oh, there's all this suspicious stuff going on. And it's like, it doesn't really look like they're already reporting on a 24-hour sun, like immediately when they just admittedly arrived like 4 hours ago or something. What was it, 6? Like,
I didn't even.
How the hell do you know that then? Right? So it just seemed weird and suspicious, and then apparently it is. It's
so. Why would you think though that they would cancel the trip? Because they were afraid to see a non-24-hour, like that they weren't going to see what they said they were going to see? I mean, why would you think they would cancel the trip?
Well, because that sort of thing has happened before. People would like crowdfund, like, we're going to do that, and then like, oh, they just took the money and then didn't let me on the flight, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's actually happened before.
I get it. Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to get to the heart of it. I think a lot of us really didn't think there was going to be a 24-hour sun. I'll admit, I'm not really one of them necessarily, but I wouldn't surprise me if they didn't see one. But at the same time, I know that I did that time and date study, and I made a video about it and everything. And at the very end of that video, I did say a couple stupid things because I was still in the Feast of Nonsense table. But all through the video, though, all I did was be honest. I kind of went over and over. It's kind of a boring video, but I did just point out, look, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. If you look at the South Pole projection during their summer and our winter, it does make sense where the sun comes up. And then during the summer up where we're at, not up, here, north of the 0 latitude, it comes up based on the North Pole projection, and it's the same in Australia. So that was something that just, I was like, okay, I don't think that they could lie on time and date like that because somebody would prove them wrong. And so I was like, And then I never gave it much thought. And then these guys came along and talked about doing this trip down there. And I didn't know what to think, honestly. I was like, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't see a 24-hour sun because you got Robert Shortman saying it. But at the same time, yeah, time and date doesn't jive, So it's like, I didn't know what to think. I was just wanting to see the end result. Sure enough, 24-hour sun, according to them.
Right.
But I could believe that. I could actually see, they talked about it in Robotham, in that book. Actually, very early in that book, apparently. I should have read that damn book. I didn't.
Right. Well, for me, with my already worked out holographic celestial sphere system, like, it's always been perfectly logical, except before the whole final experiment was happening, I was basically like, yeah, that's how I would see it in my model. I just really didn't think it would happen. Right? So when it then turned out like, 24-hour sun, I'm like, wait, really? Huh. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, yeah, why not? And I even said it like on the Will Duffy Night Owl show, the Night Owl show number 13. That's still around on Odyssey. You can still find it there. And that's exactly what my attitude was. It's like, yeah, I mean, it could be. And like, that would be kind of cool because that makes perfect sense with my model. Rectangular looping with celestial sphere. It's like, yeah, it's just the sun. It's like two rings on the side of a sphere, 2 rings. And then in the northern summer, it's on this ring, and the southern summer, it's on that ring. It just goes back and forth. And then depending on, the latitude, that depends on how that sphere on which that sun moves is rotated. So then, yeah, at the top, all in the Antarctic region, it should be 24-hour there, just like in the Arctic region, north enough, it's going in circles in the northern summer. So that was basically exactly what should have happened in my model. And nobody really cares, but yeah, whatever.
We talk about that. What's that one book, that lost book from the Bible that we've been talking about? What that creates, they come out of portals, the sun.
Book of Enoch?
Enoch, yes. So they talk about, sun coming from portals, new sun all the time, new sun. And that would, I guess, make sense. I'm not trying to get into something serious here. This isn't something I really think a lot about, but I mean, who knows what these books really knew? I mean,
well, if they really understood what they were looking at, right?
I don't know how they could, but if they were as simple as they say they were, maybe in the old days, people weren't as simple. I know that you watched that one channel, My Lunch Break and stuff, and I get it. I think there's hidden history, I mean, right. It makes sense.
I personally think that the Book of Enoch was like a very similar experience to like my kind of dark world vision. It like really matches certain aspects of it, and it just like what it's going to show you is how your mind interprets things. And that's what it's going to show you. It's going to like show you your own ideas, and it's going to show you the world as if it is exactly how you envision it, even if you're only understanding it on the surface. And so it just seemed like, okay, portals. Well, that simply means the guy did not understand holographics at all. His understanding went to mirrors, and that's it. And a lot of people, like, they get mirrors, but beyond that, holographics, they just don't understand that, really. They know there's a device that can do it and that there's mirrors involved, but they might simply not understand. Like, yeah, the sun, if you just look at it as if it were a hologram that's not in an actual location, then, like, who needs portals? Like, it isn't anywhere. It's just a visual apparition. And you could interpret like how the motion of it is across the view as if it is emerging and disappearing into a portal, or it's just no longer visible and it isn't anywhere. No portal required if it is not an object that has a location, right? There's no need to travel through some interdimensional door or something. So that's how I interpret that. It's just like, oh, the person that went through that trip did not understand holographics. So this is how he interpreted it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Those books, you know, who knows what to make of it. I've read most of the Bible. I've probably read it cover to cover, but not all, like from page 1 to 1,000, whatever. You know, I just kind of jump around it. And I feel like the stories have a lot of merit and stuff, but I don't know if they're totally factual, like as they explain things. It's a difficult subject, really.
It is. And you're right, like those types of books, especially when it gets surreal and all that, you gotta realize that in a surreal display, in a surreal trip, like it's gonna be constructed and like everything will be answered there, but not necessarily, you might not have the range or capacity to understand the answer. So you will get an answer, but it just might not mean anything to the individual, right? That's happened to me a lot. So it's like you're getting to hear things, but even the writer of it might not have truly understood what it meant. And you have to have like this grandiose esoteric view to really start getting what that's about, which is probably not what the person going through the trip was actually thinking it was. But yeah, I mean, I've never really fully read the Book of Enoch because it would kind of like trigger my pineal gland or something and make me like, ooh, if I read this too long, I'm gonna like go into the dark world again or something. So
really, it's nothing to be afraid of. Book of Enoch it's kind of describing how the sun moves, and it also talks about the edge of the world. There's like a wall of flame, things like that. I've probably forgotten a lot of it. I still have it.
Weird.
But I'll get back to it eventually. I don't even think I read it all. I just kind of got about 2/3 of the way through. It's not very long. And I thought, okay, this is interesting to consider, but how did they...
Flame. But that just sounds but that just immediately to me sounds like, okay, well, it's not the physical world you're describing then. Yeah, was he describing the spiritual parallel realm then? Because it would make a whole lot of sense. Like,
somebody in chat might know more about it than me too. I mean, like I said, I own it. I've gone through it a couple times, but not real like taking notes and stuff. So I'm just kind of remembering little things. I probably can't like recite it verbatim, but it's an interesting book for sure. But I thought it was going to be a lot more than it was based on how much everybody hyped it up. Oh, the Book of Enoch, you got to get this, I was a little underwhelmed by it, I'll say.
Yeah, no, I get it. But it's just because it's relatively old that it makes it so interesting. But I mean, I've seen people talk about it in like wildly different ways of interpreting it. So it's like people's interpretations are all over the place. So
I know, and that's what I don't like the Bible for. Or I like it, but I don't like the talk of it because it's like somebody will just go like, "Oh yeah, this is what I think it is," and you get, and then you just can't get with that. You're just like, nah, I don't know, that's your interpretation. So I prefer just to do it myself, just read it and just kind of interpret it for myself. I don't like to get on like the bandwagon of somebody who thinks they know all the interpretations of it. That's a man telling me something, or a woman, whatever. Man, generally.
Right, human. They just want to pin down their specific perspective at the time and force it upon others. While it's like, no, everybody there's like 1,000 ways to look at the same things depending on where you're at, and you'll just suddenly see something completely different that you didn't see before within the same thing, and it just keeps happening to people. Like even 10th Man says that, like, yeah, I've read the Bible like 1,000 times, but every time it's like, whoa, I didn't see that the last time. So it's kind of designed to do that, I think.
Yeah, it could be. It's like a tool almost. Like, you have a toolbox, and it can be used for different projects and things. It has all kinds of uses, and so there you have it. Yeah, that kind of makes sense to me. It is a good book for that. You can see what you want to see, and it does, give you kind of a blueprint of how to live your life successfully if you really want to be successful. And I got to be honest, I have not always adhered to those principles, but to my own detriment. But it is what it is. I'm human, and I guess I'm lazy.
It's more like, you can be told something is wrong and something else is right, but until you actually make the mistake, that's when you feel that it is indeed wrong and right. So all people end up making mistakes. You can have all the rules all laid out in front of you beforehand and just like, oh yeah, but then still it doesn't mean anything to you. Right? Until it becomes a part of you, and then you really recognize it for what it is. So it's like you need to make mistakes to really understand why it's a mistake. That's kind of part of life.
Yep. Hey, I got another one on my notes here I wanted to look at. So there's always a lot of discussion on your channel whenever this whole tide thing comes up.
The tides.
Tide talk. Don't you love that?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you a picture of me real quick here from the old days. I hope you can see it. I'm not sure if you'll be able to. Okay, guys, there I am. This is me in Mexico when I was like 23. You see that?
Wow.
I know, right?
Dude, you're like an American hunk there.
Yeah, there's Heliodora. He was, we were staying with this guy. Me and my friend Kyle drove down there in a VW bus, and we stayed with a lot of different people. And this guy had a family, like 4 kids and stuff. And literally, this photo was taken like probably 50 yards from where the waves were breaking on the sand. And this guy was poor as dirt, but he lives right next to the Pacific Ocean. Anyways, so I've been down to Mexico, and we went all the way to the Caribbean, and we've had these debates on your channel, and it cracks me up. I definitely did not experience any tides in the Caribbean. Sorry to tell you, Kumu Virus, but we slept literally in hammocks that were strung between a couple palm trees that were right at, it was like basically the beach is almost as flat as can be. It just slightly slopes down towards the water. But I mean, it's something I didn't think about at the time. But living in San Diego, I know tides, like you go surfing, you know the tides. They go up and they go out, and dude, Caribbean, no damn tides. So just wanted to, throw that one out there to you guys. And you can call me a liar if you want to. Maybe you should just go on down to the Caribbean and see for yourself. But there's no tides in the Caribbean.
All right. Well, does it show that like on tide maps? There are some tide maps that kind of show how the tides move around in the day. I have no idea.
I've never looked. And if there are tides, they would be so minute. I mean, and I know the guys in the chat sometimes have said that, like the micro tides. So what? A few millimeters or something? Really? You're gonna call that a tide? Look, a tide is like a very extreme thing. It can completely wipe out a beach. Like the water could be like way out there, but then if the tide comes in, it can like in Oregon, places I come from Oregon. I mean, I'm from a lot of places. My dad was in the Air Force, but up in Oregon, there's beaches that just completely get like flooded during high tide.
Right.
That's a tide. And then it goes way out to where, it's the sand is wet, you know what I mean? And the tide's out. In the Caribbean, nothing like that. And we literally were like not even 50 yards from the beach. We were probably about 20 yards from the beach where we slept. The tides would have been going right into our camp.
Right. But there are waves, right?
Oh, yeah, it would, yeah.
So there are waves, but they don't just suddenly move inland, right?
No, what it is, waves are normal here in San Diego, but I mean, in the Caribbean where we were at, there's a coral reef. So there's like a pool, basically, a really still body of water.
Wave
between
breaker.
Where you're at on the beach, and then I'd say about maybe almost 100 yards out, it's kind of hard to judge when you're looking out there, but there, where the reef is at, you can see waves crashing at the reef edge. But the reef creates kind of like a swimming pool. And so we would go out there every day and just go snorkeling, you know? And it's about, you know, anywhere from about 5 to 10 feet deep. So yeah, there were no waves, but I mean, that wouldn't matter. If there's a tide, there's going to be a tide. It's going to come up, whether there's a coral reef or not. Because I don't know how to explain, because just up the road, I mean, not even up the road, just up the beach a ways, there were waves. So the coral the reef kind of goes like in a horseshoe or something to the shore, and they end in, you know, I don't know. Anybody who hasn't been there, maybe they won't understand, but up the beach, not even like jogging distance up the beach, there was waves. They weren't great surfing waves, but they would, you know, come washing in. But I'm telling you, there was no tide. There's just no tides.
Right.
Tides are severe. They come in far and they go out far. Normal tides. And in the Caribbean, there's pretty much, it's just the same thing all the time. The water just comes to the same spot. And anyways.
Right. So like the beaches there are pretty undisturbed overall. Logically.
Yeah, it's white sand. The water is as clear as can be. It's beautiful. It's unbelievable. It's
right,
the Caribbean.
Because tides typically like bring in rubble and all that. And like put that on the beach, and then it goes down again, and then you have all this junk on the beach, or jellyfish and all that. Yeah. And so that's not there.
Yeah, all that, yeah. Kelp and things. Yes, totally. In San Diego, you can see that everywhere. You know, and maybe one day I'll, you know, I actually thought about it today, driving down to the beach and doing this video from the beach just for fun. But I didn't know if like the noise of the ocean was going to mess up, you know, things. But you know, one of these days I'll do it before I leave San Diego. But yeah, I mean, I know beaches. I mean, I'm a surfer. Not all that, I don't surf anymore much, but I do know the ocean. So I just love it when these guys try to, you know, like make up their little excuses and just try to argue about this shit. And it's like, dude, no, there's no tides in the Caribbean. I slept right there on the beach every night for like 2 months. No tides.
Yeah.
Literally 2 months I lived down there.
But they always get so triggered about these things, like,
well, because it threatens their little paradigm.
Right, and, you know? And they do it everywhere. It's not even like just a Kumu virus. Like the other day, one of the other trolls was just like, oh no, there's this lake in Canada and it has tides. Right. And then literally somebody in the chat's like, I live there. I'm living there right now. No, they're not.
Just fucking lying.
It's like, you're just lying. Like, no, I lived there for like this and that. Like, you know, it's really, no, that guy is like, he's standing on the beach right now. There is no tide. They just don't accept it. They just like, no, I'm right. Just look it up on Google. It's really there.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what to. I mean, I know they're just. I guess either they're just completely like disconnected from reality, this thing going on, or I don't know, or maybe they just hate people. Maybe they see people doing something. This flat earth thing got big really fast. I remember when I first saw it back in 2015, I saw videos going across my screen for a couple months before I took it serious. And then I decided to hell with it. You know, I've looked at all the shootings. I've looked at all the hoaxes. I'm done. I'm bored with that. Let's look at flat earth. Next thing I knew, within a couple weeks of looking at it, I was like, holy crap, really?
That's exactly the right response. Like, really? Oh my God.
Yeah. It made sense. I remember looking around. I was walking up to the store, you know, like I do every day. I'd go up there and get a 6-pack. Not every day, but, you know, I was doing where I was living in Oregon at the time. It was just my routine. And I just remember it was breezy. It was windy out. And I just was looking around like, yeah, it isn't moving. What in the hell, dude? It's flat. It's just not moving. It's obvious. And it was really, you know, just kind of set me free, I guess. I mean, it was also a jinx, or not a jinx, but a curse, because I was into stocks at the time, and I was actually doing pretty good. I just got an inheritance and I was making money, but then flat earth came along. Next thing I know, I was, you know, the situation. I was up until 3 a.m. watching videos sometimes. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my God, it just took over my life. It was just like the only thing I wanted to think about, because I wanted to prove it. And I wanted to tell people about it. And I got in fights. I had a guy charge me, one of my friends. Like, I just was joking around and started talking about it. And next thing I know, he was in my face saying, get some. And I'm like, he's a bigger guy too. And I'm like, fuck. It's like, all right, okay. I can see where that definitely pisses people off. I don't know why, because it seemed like it's just studying stuff. It's just looking at the world and not, believing everything you're told. Just like look for yourself. I'm rambling.
Yeah, but it's not just that though. It's not just, look at all this opportunity of figuring out the puzzle of reality. It's so fast. No, it's also, hey, that other shit that you've basically been following like a TV series, but it's supposedly reality. Yeah, that was all like messing with you and like even shoving it in your face how it's fake, and you were just so desperate to accept it that you just overlooked that. And like it's all so shocking, and that's what pisses people off. They basically act out on you for having been lied to and manipulated and played for a fool their entire life on a really big way, and that hurts a lot. And people, when that starts to shine in, they just like, this guy made me see it, attack him. Like I'm gonna strangle you. I'm gonna come for you if you don't shut up. Right?
You're right. That guy, the same guy I talked about, a couple of weeks later, I think he looked into it a little bit, and they came by the place I was staying with some friends of mine, and he came by, and I remember just joking. I wasn't even like disturbed that he charged me and stuff and threatened to hit me or something. I just was like, hey, let's watch a flat Earth video. And I remember he just kind of smiled. I think he looked into it a little bit. And he was a military guy. That was one of the things he told me. He was like, well, I was in the military. I've traveled the world. And I'm like, so? It doesn't have to be a ball to travel around the world.
Right.
But, that's the way people are. They're like, no, this can't be. They hear this insane thing. It sounds insane because you've never heard this your whole life. You've always heard in cartoons and stuff that these people are nuts. So you're not ready for it, I guess. And then when somebody's been looking into it and they come at you like we do, like remember in the early days, we were just like, everybody's going to get this. Everybody's going to understand it. And it doesn't work like that, does it? It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a hot potato. It still is for a lot of people. There's like tons of people that are like, yeah, we know there's flat earthers out there. And like, we know they've been at it for like 10 years and they don't give up. They're so stupid. We already proved it's a bull.
Yeah.
And they just never, ever look into it.
Yeah, I'm so stupid. I lose my ass all the time in the stock market. I go for every business idea I've ever heard of. I mean, yeah, I just give my money away. I have women taking my money from me. I mean, I didn't go to college, and I've done math. I got A's and all that stuff. I used to think couldn't do math. And go ahead, man.
No.
You talk.
What?
Well, I was going to point out that like you were talking about the drug thing yesterday, and we were 2 days ago. You were doing that, and then we talked a little bit about it. Like the psychedelics.
Right.
The dark world stuff.
Dark
is
world
bad,
related. Yeah. I don't think you can like have, by the way, again, I don't really think you can just have like a dark world vision like I had normally.
No, probably not. It's you, man. It's your life. You had different parents than me, and I think that influences you when you're on some sort of a psychedelic, your background. It can affect the kind of experience you're going to have. But man, my face is all whited out. I don't know what's going on. The sun's probably just like glaring at me.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's cool. But yeah, I mean, a big factor in it also was that basically the person that gave it to me not what I thought he was, right? And that is critical.
Did you know you were taking that? Did you know you were taking something, or did he just sneak it in on you?
Well, here's the thing. It was literally in school, and he suddenly like, hey, I have it. Let's go upstairs and let's do it. I'm like,
that's a bad situation right there.
And I'm like,
off the top.
Like this is so crazy. Like I got to do this because I felt like this is probably the last time I'm ever going to be able to do anything like this. But yeah, like a fool, I'm just like, this is so nuts, right? A guy that's literally
in a stressful situation. You're around school where there's a lot of authority figures around, and it's a very serious place. And you do not, once you're on something like that. I've done LSD many times.
I've never done anything like that before that. It's like the first time ever.
That would be a very bad thing if you'd never done it and you're in a situation like at school where things are supposed to be, you have a certain role you play. Yeah, you're right about like what you talked about yesterday about be in the right situation, be around people you trust.
Right.
It's so important.
Right, but I learned all that afterward because at the time I was like, this is so nuts. There's literally a guys, a 14-year-old kid. That's supposedly my friend that's offering me this. And like, I was like, I just have to do it just to call the bluff. Like this is so insane. Like, I just have to say yes. Like, that's kind of what happened. And
you just didn't know what you were getting into.
No, but I didn't really know what I was getting. I just thought he was just like bullshitting me. He was just like, he was always trying to brag about he's like some mighty sorcerer or something when he's a 14-year-old kid. And it's like, yeah, I didn't realize that he actually wasn't bluffing. That's the most insane part about it. And so I then got entangled with this weird shit.
Right. And that's it's partly part of your mind. You are a receptive person, and it just opened that up.
Yeah, he basically sneaked in my mind in that sense and did damage, or at least attempted to. And it was like a struggle that I've been struggling with for a very long time. So,
well, the world's an ugly place, and I don't blame you there for being,
naive. Is really
when
what
you
it was.
really start thinking about the world, like the people in it that are doing things. If you're taking a psychedelic, it's definitely going to exaggerate that in your mind. Hold on one sec. I just want to say a couple things about like psychedelics. Steve Jobs, the creator of Apple, right? Mm-hmm. He took LSD.
Yeah,
he was a big time LSD fan, and so is Cary Grant, the actor. A lot of people have done it. A lot of people that were alcoholics have done LSD and quit alcohol because of it, because it makes you think deeper, and it makes you see things for what they are. When I first time I took it, I was like 20 years old, and I was really, like into a career, meeting a woman, getting a wife, just everything. It was like all stressing me out. I was going to school, college, and I couldn't do math because I was lazy. And I took LSD, and the next thing I knew, math all of a sudden became easier for me. And also I stopped stressing out about women and about like the pressures of society, doing what they expected me to do. And like you said the other day, it kind of was a bad thing because it kind of set you on a path where you weren't going to go get that job, get that great life. You just didn't care anymore because of the psychedelic. It actually makes you see things kind of for what they are, that it's kind of stupid. Really,
yeah, but this world unfortunately works in a way where
that's fine.
You can't just be in a little family in the woods like it's medieval times and then just have children away from society. So that can't work. And usually when you get into it, you figure that out too late, and that you're basically sort of sacrificing that by getting into that mindset.
You can be successful, though. Look at Steve Jobs. That's why I brought him up. He actually went on to do great things. It's not necessarily going to cripple you, but it just depends on your,
No, but I'm talking about a family setup. Like, it will actually cripple that, because you need to be like a working man to make it work. And if you get the idea like this is all fake, then you don't do that. And you can become rich as a gay, because that's what Steve Jobs was. Right? Yeah, that still works. Yeah. Duh. Raging homosexual.
I did not know that.
What, you did not know that? Like, no. Okay.
Well, I didn't really study him that hard. I don't know. But...
I don't know. I didn't feel it was that hard to figure out about him.
I didn't know. I just never really looked into the guy. I don't know. That's funny to me, actually. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
So he had no all those big tech guys are that. Right. All of them. All the big techies, especially all the big techies from the night, all gay, all of them.
See, I'm one of those guys that's like, the men going their own way thing. That's been a way of life for me for quite a long time now. Because when I was younger, you saw my picture and stuff. Girls, I fight them off with a stick for the most part, right? I didn't have a problem with women. But the thing is like, they're very demanding. Yeah. And I'm just really selfish with my time, unfortunately. So that's who I am. You know what I mean? It's like, so.
Right. Yeah. Well, I have that mindset kind of like in this period when I kind of decided to become a hermit 10 years ago. But before that, it's like, they're very demanding and I have a lot to give. So.
Well, me too. And that's the problem too, though, is like, you never know what a woman's thinking and when they're going to change their mind is what I've found. It's like, you can't really be yourself. It seems like you have to be what they want you to be almost. Now, maybe some guys have met the great woman, the I don't know. I just was never that lucky. I think where I spent a lot of my youth in Oregon, women are a little different there, especially here on the West Coast in general. Women are just different here. They're probably like they are where you're from, like Amsterdam, or not Amsterdam, but Netherlands. I'm not really sure what they're like there, but I would suspect that Netherlands, is a lot like the West Coast of the United States. It's very liberal and idealistic.
In ways, I mean, we have a lot of those, but I mean, I don't really know anymore. Like, because they had like SJW shit having forced upon them in school and all that. So there's like...
Wait, tell me, what the hell does that mean again? I've never understood.
Social justice warrior. It's like all the Marxist LGBT crap.
Okay,
so
got it.
They've had a lot of that over here with the newer generations. It's been like that for a while. They're pretty aggressive about it. Like in the United States, liberal places, it's pretty much like that. And I don't know how much of an influence it has. I know there's a lot of those people that are like that. But I mean, not everybody. Like, it doesn't look like that. And I still see like those, like, you don't expect it. It's like a blonde, tall man with a blonde, slightly less tall woman having like babies in a carriage going around. So it's like, it's still there. I mean, they've not all become freaks or something. But
I think that they definitely hype that up in the media. I think they overplay that. I don't think that it's as true as they say. Like they say California is all liberal and stuff. If you walked around California, you'd see lots of guys that like big trucks and motorcycles and like going out into the desert and stuff and surfing. We're very macho in this state. Guys here are all a bunch of athletes and stuff. They like going out and doing stuff. So it's not as liberal as people think. It's definitely been hyped up.
Right. Well, California is like this. It's just, I mean, I've known some people even from California, like Rasta he's not really hanging around anymore, but like, and he's also like a very interesting, super smart, very ambitious guy. And it's like, he's a real Californian, like, and he's like not taking any shit from any SJW and all that. So like, California does have a lot of those people. And they're always, it's like a just a never-ending culture war, and they're just always like in their fortress, just like, they're all nuts, but not over here.
Oh, they're not. They got blocks of votes that they get from like groups of people, like union-style stuff, but not necessarily unions in this state, but blocks of people. Like they bring them across the border and say, "We'll give you this and this and this. Now vote Democrat." It's a lot of cheating, but the good news is that a lot of Latinos are changing now. They're realizing that that Trump is probably the better guy. And so I think, this state used to vote Republican, and I was never a Republican before because the Republican Party kind of sucked. But
neocons
they like to
and all
switch.
that.
They switch. They take, you know what I mean? They know these guys, these snakes, they switch parties. Yeah. And before we know it, they've taken over the other party. And so they keep doing that. They go back and forth, back and forth. You have to have a sharp eye. You can't just be like a staunch Republican or a staunch Democrat.
Absolutely.
You have to have an open mind. My grandpa always said, vote for the man, not the party.
No, absolutely. And I mean, the way things have been going with California, I wouldn't be surprised if California, like in 4 to 8 years, is a completely Republican state. I mean, absolutely. Look at what this freaking Newsom Democrat asshat did. Like, look at what he did, and it's like laughing over. Everybody knows what they did. And it's like, dude, this
people that
can't last.
I know. People in the Palisades, right? Everybody thinks they're all rich, right? Everybody's up there as a zillionaire, right? Not true. A lot of those people inherited those properties, and they were not paying big taxes because they can't change your tax base until you sell the home. So it's based on its old value, like from the 50s, right? And so it only goes up a small percentage every year. And so a lot of people were living in the Palisades that weren't paying like $70,000 a year in taxes. And it feels like they wanted that to happen so they could wipe it all out and then rebuild it with everybody paying millions of dollars for the house. And now the tax revenue, it's much bigger. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they don't want us owning houses, man. It's sad because that's how people that's your retirement plan. You buy a house because you can lock in the payment and you can eventually own it. And then all you owe is the taxes, and you can actually get old. And when you can't work anymore, you can just at least live like a human being. They're trying to take that away.
Yeah.
They want everybody on the rental system. And guess what happens at the end of the day? You're going to end up in a studio apartment by yourself. Your spouse is gone and you're crapping yourself.
Yeah, and then when you're too old, you go in an old folks home and get euthanized. And that's what they wanted for everybody.
Yep. They don't want you living in your own nice house up in the hills somewhere. You inherited it fair and square. No, they don't want you owning things. It's obvious what they're trying to do, and people are standing up to it.
Good. Because, I mean, it's been terrible just watching what's been happening in California, especially after I get to know some guys there that are actually really nice. Because if it weren't for actually meeting people like you and Rastahat, like, I would think, like, it's just liberal hell there. Just pure hell.
Absolutely.
Like all the zombies, fentanyl zombies on the street, and totally maniacal lizard-looking tattooed freaks everywhere. And like, did we just think it's all that?
We do have definitely people on the streets living. You know, I walked up to 7-Eleven for my coffee today and definitely passed a tent. But there was only one. It's not like a row of them. The cops will let them do it for a little while, and then they kind of make them move along. And, you know, these guys, a lot of them are just older guys too, you know, and they're not even necessarily fentanyl users. They're just basically down on their luck, you know, and it is what it is. What are you going to do? You know, I mean, in California, it's really easy to go homeless. There's people with jobs here that are homeless. They live in their car and they use like 24-hour fitness places to get a shower.
Right.
And so that's just, it is that way
it's
because
rough.
The rent here is just ridiculous and the pay isn't really as good as you'd think. We do make more per hour. You know, the minimum wage here is $16, whereas like in South Carolina, it's probably like $3 or something, or for a server anyway.
Right, but
they
just
kind of give you more money.
Yeah, but it creates a feedback loop, right? When you have minimum wage, it simply means, okay, then everything's going to match that minimum wage and become more expensive so that it becomes the same.
Yeah, I know.
Because
every time they
it doesn't
wage,
work.
Our rent goes up.
Yeah.
Yes, our rent goes up every time they raise the wage. Yeah, we can be assured that, you know, I just got my notice this month, you know, that rent's going up again by about 10%. And that's why owning a house is an important thing for somebody as they get older, because they are not they're not exposed to that, you know, exposed to the higher rents, the higher taxes. You lock in your house, you stay there. And I would say here right now, anybody who buys a house in this country, don't try to improve it much. Just keep it the way it is, because if they come and see you've put up a nice fence or something, they're going to give you a higher tax assessment. And yeah, I'd rather just live in a place that looks like unassuming, you know, so that people leave me alone. I've told you this.
Or even better, if you have the money to spend and you can do it kind of secret, you could just like take some shitty house, like do a shitty cleanup job of it, and then basically build a giant bunker, a luxurious bunker under it, and like nobody will ever know.
Yeah. You don't have to have permits for stuff like that. Like if I was to lay hardwood floors in a house I bought or something, I don't need to tell the government that, you know?
Right.
You know, so you can make it really nice inside, but leave the outside as plain as possible, because that's the curb, you know, that's where the guy that walks up can look at it and say, hey, wow, this is a nice place, and then charge you more money. And that's what they're doing, because,
right.
You know,
and more break-in risks too, of course, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it depends where you live. I mean, there's not as much crime. Actually, San Diego is one of the lowest crime cities in the United States, believe it or not. Yeah, totally. It's a very safe city, actually.
Is there like gun ownership and all that allowed? Because that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the United States. Yes, you could probably carry one under your vest if you wanted to, or under your jacket when you're out in public. But I'm not sure actually, because I don't own a gun.
It wildly differs per state, though. From what I've heard.
It does, you're right. Yeah. So I'm not really sure about that, actually. I think I know you can own guns in California, but I don't know if you can carry them around. I'm not sure about that. Obviously, I said I don't own a gun, so I wouldn't know.
Right, because I suspect that it's possible, but you probably have to pay the high fee permit for that shit. Because you can't do anything without just getting squeezed right over with money. Like, that's how they
Trump
do it.
is trying to change that. Yeah, Trump wants to change. Did you know he wants to stop? I know you know this, but he wants to stop basically taxes in general, which is nuts.
It's
like,
very
what,
interesting.
dude?
It's very interesting because it could work. It sounds scary, but I mean, if you're going to get rid of a lot of nonsense departments and all that, people, bureaucrats
like
wasting everything.
Industrial complex.
Yeah, but you can't really get rid of that because that's just. But you can stop making it like a scam because they're like. It's like military socialism. That's how they deal with it, and that should stop. It should just be, no, you get money when we need you, and you then produce it, right? And then it can work. But I mean,
what you can pop up is a lot of privatizing of things. You would see privatizing of roads, probably tolls, more tolls, perhaps things like that. Maybe there'd be taxes, but it's through private. Rather than just extorted from you from the government, and then they just spend it in the old way they want. At least you'd be able to pick and choose, like, well, I don't need to go on that road today, so I want to save money, so you could actually pull back on your spending habits.
Right, but it can look how you're going to do taxation. There's always going to be some kind of taxation, but it's just like, where are you going to do it, and how can it be tricked then? So you could, for example, theoretically, it's probably not really good, but you could just say, like, no taxes whatsoever with anything, except when there is trade, when there is something being bought, right? And just put it all on that. And then
he's talking about tariffs, of course.
Right? And then it's like, okay, you want to do business, that's where the taxes then come from. And then, like, everything else is like you can just keep everything, but eventually you're going to go to a store, you're going to buy something, and that's where the taxes then come from, which might be relatively high even, but because there's no taxes on anything else, it will be doable. See? You're always going to go out and buy groceries, like, unless you're a farmer, and then you're like really scot-free in a way, right? Because then you produce your own food. So you can have like just carefully aim where you're going to do the taxation and then leave most of everything open. And that can actually really work if you are very careful with the planning of it. And I'm sure these guys are, because they are reforming everything, as you already said.
Right. I'll tell you something though right now. If they do, eliminate income tax, there's going to be a ton of people that aren't going to be in debt anymore within months. Because all the money they're saving, they're going to pour towards their credit card debt. And the banks, they're not going to like that.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of pushback. But seriously, like, I only have a credit card, $1,000 limit, because I use it to raise my credit limit, or my credit rating, so that I can, do things. If I want to get an apartment or a house or something, you need to have a credit rating. That's the only reason I have that. And I put money on it, and then I pay it back off just, to do that, get that credit rating. But that would be wiped out. If I wasn't paying income tax anymore, that credit card would be like $100 or less. I had a car issue recently and I put some money on it. And now I'm kind of struggling to just pay it down because I had to use the whole thing. That was never my intention. But do you understand what I'm saying? If they do that, then a lot of debt's going to be wiped out. I love it. It's like inflation, basically. You're inflating the economy again. You're putting money in people's hands. And the smart people are going to pour it towards their debt. Maybe that's why they wouldn't like that,
Right, like yeah. I mean, well, the bankers certainly would. Hold on, I need to do something. Be right back.
I know, something's going on with me. I'm ghosting.
Right, and I'm back. Sorry. I think Kumo Virus says that he maybe send me a PayPal. That would be kind of nice, Kumo Virus. Don't know if he's actually doing that.
He sent you one before, I know.
I know, but I mean, he's been kind of like playing with me that sort of thing recently.
So. Don't play, man.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
You're a good brother, man. Come on, we're all brothers.
Yeah, I think he's just fucking around.
What an a-hole. But that's all right. You know my situation. I've been kind of like, I have this other inheritance coming, and it's like I've had to spend my own money to try to basically we have to pay for our own stuff to get tax people and different things. It's like, and I'm not rich, so all my pocket change has just been spent. Eventually it'll pay off, but I'm not going to be like rich or anything. But it's a good trade-off. but that's why it's like it's been hard for me. And then the economy here, just like I'm basically cut by one shift a week right now, and I was making great money before Christmas, but it's hard right now. It's just rough.
I know everybody's having a tough time, but I mean it's a time of reform, so everybody has to be kind of careful and reorient themselves, and then again like how it is. Dude, I'm sorry, I need to go to the bathroom.
No, I need myself as well. Yeah.
Sorry, guys, watch yours. I will be back in 2 minutes. Hopefully, Blue Pill will. Oh, he's also taking a break. Right, we'll be right back.
And we're back. Yeah, I don't think I see myself on the screen here. I think I am. I hope I'm presenting still, but Akumu. Arwen needs money. Come on, man. Help him out. He gives us a lot of entertainment. He's always here, talking, interacting with us. The guy deserves at least $10, so he can buy some bread or something.
And I'm back. I mean, I have nobody to blame but myself with drinking all that tea.
Absolutely. I had coffee. I know. I'm just sitting here going, okay, we're going to wrap this up eventually. Or then once you went to the restroom, I'm like, perfect. I was hoping for that.
Jade Orange in chat. Good to see you. Yeah, I hope everybody's been enjoying the show. It's been kind of a casual chat. But I've really been appreciating it. Right. Where did we leave off? Like your financial situation, there's something in the hold, basically. I got some things in the hold too, but I mean, everybody's known about that, the whole GTI thing, and they're like doing things all over the place, but it's like, yeah, I don't know if it's eventually actually gonna lead somewhere meaningful, but I mean, if it works out, and it should, then eventually I will also like have something on the side, like a passive income thing that will definitely fix my overall situation and prevent me from the need to e-bag. No, oh god, no. Like, look at this. These people are continually whining that I should do supposedly a debate with this guy, which I don't think it's actually even going to be this guy, this stalker that's been going after me for that long. I really think I'm going to do that. I'm going to pay money, have money paid to me, to sit through like one of the most disgusting people that I've ever met online. Really.
He could just come here for free.
No, he can't. Like, I don't want him around. He's banned. I mean, that's just so just debate Taryn. Oh, just debate Roger. Like, no.
So
like,
lately,
you
I've
can
been, getting into like.
But hold on. My thing is like they can pay me to basically make up for their absolutely horrendous stalker behavior, and then we'll see. Right? Just give it. Give it, and I might consider like letting you say things in my chat and not immediately banning you. How about that? Right? But they never do that. It's always going to be a false lead. They're going to like get me on somehow in a communication like this, and then they're not going to pay me because they're never going to pay me.
Yeah.
They just want to fuck me over. It's all they ever wanted to do.
Right.
So it's like, no, you want to do something? Send me the money. Yeah, and then we might talk. Might. And that's it. That's the only condition in which I'm going to have any movement towards any of those people.
Very reasonable.
And they're not going to do it. I know they don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Reasonable. I mean, on your part, that's reasonable. And because you're right. You're just calling them out ahead of time.
It's not the first time this has happened. Like, even with like the typical ballers that FED used to go at with, right? They would do that thing. It's like, no, they never pay you. They never, ever hold up their end of the bargain. Ever.
Yeah. Snake will be a snake, you know? Snake does what a snake does.
I
agree.
offered to do a one-on-one. No, I didn't. Again, they're just like doing this shit. Like, I offered them. Did I offer them to do a one-on-one with the trolls? Or was that just a hypothetical? Right? Because why the fuck would I do that? It doesn't make any sense.
I agree. No, you shouldn't. Obviously, you don't trust these guys. They're all snakes.
Right.
I had a casual question about, okay, so I've been eating a lot more like russet potatoes on the grill, right? You know, and so you got a special sauce you make like for fries, right? And I know I could look back through the old, but what is it? Tell me. It's based in mayonnaise. What do you put onions in it or something? What is it you do?
In my mayonnaise?
Yeah. Yeah, you have like a sauce you make for your fries, and I've been eating a lot because I'm trying to cut back on food and stuff, so I'm eating a little bit more potatoes lately.
Right. Yeah. Well, a typical sauce that I do with my French fries is, you cut onions in very, very small pieces, as small as you can. I usually take like a really little onion, like a small one, cut it into really small blocks, then add a bit of ketchup and then mayonnaise, and then mix that up. And you might want to add like some ginger syrup maybe, if you like that or not. And that's usually what I use.
You just use raw onions?
Yeah, of course. Of course, raw.
Okay. I didn't know if you cooked them or something, maybe sauteed
not
them
for through mayonnaise. You're not going to cook something and then mix it in with mayonnaise. That's just weird. No.
I don't know. You're the cook, dude. I'm not as good. I'm very basic type of cook here. I just put the meat on the grill and then make something really simple on the side, maybe a sweet potato or something. But yeah, I should, once I get back out of this RV situation, I probably will do more cooking, with a regular kitchen. I do miss that, being able to prep things. Up in Oregon, I had property and I had a normal house, and I do miss that, like cooking proper meals. Here I just basically grill a lot of stuff, and I do eat, a lot of raw. My microwave broke down, thank God. And ever since I haven't been using that thing, I feel better, actually. My brother's the big microwave guy. He likes the convenience. But I've noticed, the thing about microwaves is that it seems like you just want to make yourself more bad food. Like, it's easy just to throw a tortilla in there with some cheese and melt it and then eat more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you don't use a microwave, so I'm sure this is
never.
foreign talk.
Yeah, I never used a microwave ever. Haven't used that since not since 2005 or something.
Right. Yeah, that's great.
And it really matters. Like, microwave food is like hell.
You're right. Yeah, it sucks. Like I said, mine broke down a while back, and it's like I told my brother, I'm like, dude, we don't need a microwave. Let's just stop using that damn thing. I'm not eating as much food now. And it's because, the microwave is just too convenient. And trust me, I never put plastic in there. I know better than that. But, just heating up like a tortilla with some cheese or something, that was just too easy to do. Put some hot sauce on it. Just bad. Yeah, get rid of those damn things, those microwaves. I was trying to get on a lighter tone because I figured we'd be wrapping up soon here.
No, not if you don't want to. It's all up to you.
Well, it's been about 2 hours.
1 hour, 47 minutes. But I can technically go on another half hour or more. But if you're like, let's round it out, then I'm fine too.
I've exhausted a lot of my topics, but if you're willing to bring up some new stuff, I'd love to bounce off of that. That's fine.
No, I'm just really liking it. Specifics, Flat Earth. We were very short with the treatment of the whole 24-hour sun situation. That was a very short topic. So, is there anything else out there? Like, what do you, for example, think about the idea that there might be a secret Nazi empire somewhere in Antarctica where Hitler died a natural death?
Well, okay, I'll be
Have
honest,
you ever heard of an idea like that before?
Yeah, no, I've heard of it. And what I would say is, like, you'd have to really be in big trouble to want to live in Antarctica, because it's cold as shit down there, and I couldn't imagine wanting to live there, even if it was in.
Well, they're not. Hold on, they're not living on the icy surface. It's like not
underground,
in the which might have like terrestrial heated waters, right? Could be very nice and warm down there, or it's literally beyond Antarctica in the zone beyond the beaches of South Antarctica with like another continent there. But it's like
I think
over there, pointing south. It's like they're over there somewhere, right? Operation High Jump, also about that. Returned unsuccessfully.
Yeah. But wouldn't you miss the sun? I know they have sun there, but I live in Southern California, obviously, and I don't know. That's why I live here. I kind of like the sun. I couldn't imagine like simulating the sun or going out there. Like, sure, there's sun, but it's like ice and snow and just no beach. I don't know. It just seems like a terrible place to live to me. But yeah, I can imagine they were hiding from the world because the world wanted to kill them. So yeah. I can totally see it.
I don't even see it like that. The world wanted to kill them, but they hide it. No, they realized what they're doing is creating society that does not match the original mind control program of the Earth. So, and they were technically capable of creating a self-sustaining colony that could like really thrive completely away from society, right? So that's how I think they built it, to like create their Aryan colony, and they just did it, and it's over there. And they probably have like super high-tech stuff like UFOs, if they're even using that. They might have like technology that just seems like total Buck Rogers to us. They just never use it because they don't need to, because there's an Antarctic treaty.
Yeah, it's hard to say, honestly. I think we don't know much about south of 60, so who could really say? It's definitely a hidden place. I know you can go there. Oh God. So yeah, right. The Toon dude yelling about where's the guns, Nathan? Talk about childish. I hope you trolls are listening too right now. Go down to a place, you're sanctioned to go there, right? You've got a legal ticket. You're allowed to go there. And Toon is going to scream, where's the guns? Like, guns are just down there waiting for everybody. What about the people that pay $10,000, $30,000 for a ticket? I don't think there's going to be any guns. That is just childish and stupid to me. I don't get it one bit. Toon is just insane, perhaps, because he's walking around in circles. Where's the guns? And it's like, bro.
Yeah, you're at the designated area. There's no guns at the designated area. Like, duh.
Why is it an issue? Why are even people talking? They should be laughing at this guy to his face. You really expected to see guns? You moron.
No. he's just trying to troll. They're just really desperate to like humiliate the flat earthers and Nathan especially for a thing that he would have said casually, right? And then take it out of context and then just like, yeah, see, they're always humiliating themselves. Look at me doing a sketch about how silly he is for having said that one time, completely out of context. I mean, that's what ballers do.
That's sad. That's sad because the people that watch him and think that that's legitimate content on his part, those people, I'm sad for them. You know, that's all I gotta say. Because can't be, if you're that stupid to believe him, he's like, oh yeah, right, Nathan, where's the guns? It's like, would you have expected to see guns on a legal trip to Antarctica? But that's what's going on.
But you have to be pretty desperate to find some kind of flaw or humiliation, right? And I really think that a lot of these actual serious baltards out there, and there's tons of them that like comprise of the followers of McToon and Fight the Flat. I think that these guys are really they're just perpetually humiliated that flat earthers exist. They can't just leave it alone either. Like, they have to seek it out and just like, why is he stepping on my dick? Yeah, because you're going over there and you're getting humiliated and you're learning things you don't want to know. And it's like, why do you keep going there? Oh, and then, look, McToon, he's humiliating him. Like, they wouldn't even care if they weren't so butthurt over somebody just making an argument.
That's not your average person, is it? I mean, somebody like me, again, I just look at myself and go, would I make a video like that? Would I say the things that guy... I mean, no. Because I would see what you see and I see. It's like, this is stupid. But,
and
again, I'd say it does... apparently it resonates with his people. And that's really disheartening to think that there's people in the world that are that naive, or not even naive, but just have that level of cognitive dissonance. It's amazing to me. Crazy shit.
Yeah, they're just not capable of dealing with reality, and people like McToon and all that, they're just their handlers. They're the babysitters for the people that just really can't handle it, to tell them the fairy stories that they really want to believe in. It feels like that.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it's they're obviously either choosing not to listen on purpose, or they really are completely crazy. But why is it that we keep saying, dude, what about water? What about the Earth being measured and navigated flat? Elevation angles to Polaris, things like that, things that make sense. We keep saying we don't care about the 24-hour sun, but they just keep acting like they didn't hear that.
Yeah, but water's not flat, it's a droplets or a sphere.
Yeah, drops, yeah, sure, I've heard that, of course.
That's right, the point is, there is always something to rebut with. It doesn't have to make sense, but there's always something you can say.
Right,
and
even
that's
if it doesn't make sense, I get it.
Right.
I get it, I know.
No, but even if it can be rebutted, it's just... all they really do at this point is just try to break the momentum of a flat earther laying it all down. Yeah. That's really what it's about. They just don't want you to finish that entire thing.
I have a manager, he's the main manager, and it's the same thing with him. It's like he's got an answer for everything. Some people you just can't say something. They'll be like, okay, it's like usually it's just always an answer. They're salesmen, basically. And I even told him, I was like, dude, why aren't you a salesman? Why are you a restaurant manager? I know you make pretty good money as the GM here, but why aren't you a salesman? Oh, I was. They wanted me to sell BMWs or something at some place. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me because you're really good at overcoming objections. And I used to be a salesman of furniture, and I know all about that game and how hard it is. And I was just like, dude, you have to have an answer for everything. I know these people are just basically salesmen. So this is who you're getting behind, guys. Salesmen. That's what salesmen do. You can never tell a salesman anything. They will always have an answer for you. It's called overcoming objections. It's how they make a sale. But let's face it, it's just a damn sale. And you might be buying a piece of crap. They're going to say this is the best thing ever, but they're really selling you a piece of shit. And I've been on the other side of the table, been the salesman. I know what we're selling. So, you might want to consider that, guys. I'm sorry to sound so authoritative about that, but
no, don't worry. That's just fine. I mean, they are.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to your trolls.
I know.
These guys.
But I mean, the trolls that really follow me around, they're not necessarily Globers. Like, right? Some of them aren't Globers. Tarot's not a Glober. JB's not a Glober. Like, they're just nasty ass people that just can't leave me alone.
Yeah, and that's also weird to me. It's like, I don't know. Maybe you make yourself an easy target. You come out here every day, and you sometimes put your heart on your sleeve, and you tell a little bit too much about yourself, perhaps, and you're too honest, I guess. And
I'm too open about having feelings. I mean, oh my God, how dare me? Right. Having feelings is gay, of course, to them.
You're just trying to make connections, make friends.
Yeah, and also just like, I mean, have an emotional identity, actually integrate emotions into a character and not just be, oh, I am stoic, man. I don't have feelings. I have them, but I never show them. Like, no, that doesn't work for me, dude. Like, expression is part of communication and feelings come with that. And it's like, I want to be honest and open.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's great. I mean, but it is something that is going to lay you open to these types of people, and they're everywhere, haters all over the place.
Yeah.
We will never understand them.
No, I get it. I get where it's coming from. It's just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care that that's not acceptable to you. There is a very simple solution. Get the fuck out of here and stop watching me, you frick, you just obsessed moron. Like, people that are negatively obsessed with others are like trash. There is no excuse you can give to justify that behavior. Like, there is not one justifiable excuse for that behavior. Like,
no, you know what? I will say this for the trolls. They have taught me. I mean, I might be talking a little trash right now today in this show, but in general, in chat now, I have kind of backed off from. I was also kind of a hateful person towards trolls. Mm-hmm. And it has taught me that this isn't really something I want to be, and it is a waste of time. So I'll give them that. Thank you for that, guys. You really helped me get over that. And I no longer engage with you as much, if at all. Because, it's just not really worth the energy put out, and it brings bad vibes to me. I don't appreciate them.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, that's advisable. I just wish that me ignoring them would do the trick, but they just insist that they're not going to leave me alone. Right? Okay, they're now in a bargaining. They're literally trying to bargain for my attention, offering money. Like, that's kind of deranged. After everything you try to force in the chat and complain about me and I'm so terrible and I hurt people's feelings for no reason. Oh, but now you're going to offer me money to debate you. Right. Okay.
I think a lot of people like it is why. They just like the fight. They like to see it. At first when I saw it, and I'm not going to say I don't enjoy you telling them off. I do. But at the same time, I also see how much it frustrates you, and I don't like it.
Yeah. No,
I really don't.
Sometimes I'm just like, I'm not really capable of handling, and other times I am just like, okay, now it's not getting to me, and it's just like, wow, these people are so ridiculous. Like, I just want to like try to somehow get through to him and like show them how unbelievably ridiculous it is what they're engaging with doing. I just want to show them. I want to like, do you see? Do you see what you just said? I mean, sometimes I even talk to my chat like that when they're in there, right? When I'm in this mood, I'm like, hey, did you just let me read out what you just said? Yeah, you just said this. Oh, now afterward, 5 minutes later, you said something different? Oh, you're telling me you didn't say that. Well, when you literally go up 5 lines, yeah, you did say it. You did say it right there. Like, how can you just contradict yourself when, like, the proof that is still there in the same field of view. Like,
again, this is why we don't debate with these guys. I don't, because I know they're liars. They're disingenuous. They're going to pull those kind of tactics, and I'm not going to subject myself to that. They're never going to change. I wish we could see them sometimes, though. They definitely don't like to show their faces, do they?
Oh, they're they're professional trolls, as in, like, they really make sure they don't get caught at anything. But I mean, when you're a person like that, getting doxxed is potentially fatal. So I get it, right?
I don't understand the dox thing. So if somebody doxes me, finds out where I live, what consequence? If they knew where I work, maybe they could call my job and mess with me there. But I mean, just by lying about me. But other than that,
if you're unlucky. But most of the time, look, when you're just kind of a public figure and you behave yourself, you're not some devious criminal having a secret life, like, there's no issue there. Like, right. Oh no, yeah, I'm doxxed. I got doxxed in 2017.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, I'm literally still here 8 years later. Yeah, been threatened a lot. Everybody has my address. Nobody actually did anything. They just keep saying it for years and years and years. They never do anything. It's like, I can't get fooled again because I'm seeing the pattern. They never do anything. They're just hot air spouting idiots.
On the dox thing, okay, so I looked at some of that stuff too. I know they doxed you, and I looked at the video, and so I know your apartment building, and it's got that church across the street and all that stuff, right? And there's a river right there. But it wasn't looking because I wanted to know where you lived or anything. It was just like, just passing time, right? So I was looking around your building. What color was your bicycle? The one that I'm just goofing around right now, just for fun. But what color was your bicycle? The old one that just got destroyed.
It didn't get destroyed. It was just worn out. So
it was old. It was old. Yeah, that's right. So
what color did it have?
I just want to know because I want to know if I got it right.
I don't remember. I think it was like dark blue or something.
Oh, okay. I got the wrong bike. There was a yellow one outside your place.
No.
I was like, that's got to be our bike.
No, absolutely not. No, because I am not gay.
Well, it wasn't like a gay yellow. It was just like a yellow, older-looking bike, with like it looked like the kind of bike somebody would have, like that has a basket on it or something for groceries.
That's also gay.
Okay.
You don't understand bikes. I see. You're very American about it.
No, I ride a bike. Are you kidding, dude? I have a Giant right over here in front of me. I have a saddlebag in the back, and I go get groceries with it. No, I love riding my bike. Oh,
okay, sorry, but I mean, I'm not gonna like ride some weirdo colored bike. Not me.
It was just like a standard looking bike, though. I'm not trying to say like bright yellow. It was like a cooler shade of yellow. It was like a darker, like, you know what I mean? But anyways, I'm just kidding. I was being a sleuth.
Okay, it's fine.
Yeah, no, just like I always wanted to ask you that. So, anyways, it's not a big deal to me. I'm just kidding around.
It's fine. No, but I'm not revealing what my bike looks like.
That's okay.
I'm already suspecting weirdos are like secretly circling my apartment in their car sometimes. I like literally walked by a car when somebody was sitting in there, and then when I got there, they like sped off, like almost slipped out of control. What? It's like, okay, that didn't make any sense, but I guess you were kind of like trying to look at what I was doing or something. I don't know.
Just like, it sounds to me like your life would be pretty boring to observe as far as like, he goes out of his place, he goes and gets groceries and comes home.
Yeah, but I mean, they think that, I don't know, like every weekend or something, I secretly disappear in some kind of satanic dungeon thing and do all kinds of secret creepy things or something. I don't know what the hell it is. Oh, did Glenn just drop off? But I mean, no. No, I do not, for the record. Huh. Okay, Glenn just got cut off. You're back.
Yeah. Am I on screen?
Yeah, you're back with sound and everything.
Okay, cool. Because I can't see myself. I'm looking at I'm looking at the chat right now, but okay, cool.
No, you're there.
I think Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. My phone is like right in the sun. Maybe that's why, because it's like the sun's going down to my left.
Yeah, you've been kind of outshone for a while.
Oh, yes. Yes, I know, right? Yeah, the sun is definitely going down behind me to the south and to the south, or to the south of east, south of west. I'm sorry. This was a big talk the other day. Elijah was doing this on the channel, on Nathan's channel.
Right, I think I heard that. Like, oh, the sun goes up in the east and goes down in the west. But
Yes.
maybe not in Antarctica, though.
Right.
There was this whole debate between people about that. It's like, no, it can't do that because it's always going up in the east and south, going down in the south. It's always like that, so it can't be going in a circle. Yeah, but what about at the North Pole? And he said, like, no, there is no 24-hour sun in the north either.
Really?
What? Yeah,
Well, I haven't
it
seen it,
just
but
said that. Like, because it goes up in the east and goes down in the west. Like, therefore it can't be moving in a circle. What?
Yeah, well, I heard both ways. I think that these guys were trying to argue that it does. The Mush guy was saying it does go in a circle, but what he was getting wrong was that, like, the sun, if you're at the north and you're seeing the 24-hour sun, at some point it's going to stop going down. It's going to stop going west, and it's going to start going west to east because it's going in a circle over your head. So it will actually start going from west to east if you're seeing a 24-hour sun, and it makes sense. But essentially what he's getting wrong is that, or what Mush is trying to say is that if I'm in Japan, say, the sun is always going to come up from my east and go to my west. And that's true. You know?
Hold on.
But if you above your head, it's going to go behind you and it's going to go to the west, but eventually it's going to start going west to east. And that does make sense. I think these guys were just arguing semantics perhaps, but I mean, I used to work, like when I was a kid, I worked 2-3 summers in Alaska, and I was on the Bering Sea for like April till summer. And I remember seeing like the twilight for almost 24 hours. I think it wasn't dark. I wouldn't know for sure because I didn't stand on deck like for 24 hours. I'd be working below, but I remember coming up in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m, and yes, it was like twilight out. It was light. So I know it exists up there, like 24-hour sun. I didn't actually see the sun though. All I saw was light in the sky. Like, you know, the whole sky was lit, you know, like it was day kind of. I've seen that. I mean, yeah, I was in the Bering Sea, which isn't too high up there. It's south of Anchorage, so I don't think it's in the Arctic Circle for sure. But
Bering Sea, I think the Bering Sea is almost entirely in the Arctic.
It's almost, but I don't know if it's totally above 60 north. I'm not sure about that, but I know it's where we're at in the Bering Sea is south of Anch conditions outside on deck in the middle of the night, like 4 a.m, because we'd work shifts around the clock. Yeah, no, I've definitely seen like it's light. But
that's very interesting. That's so you basically see daylight, but you then don't see the sun.
I don't remember seeing it. I just don't remember looking right at the sun. I just remember it was like you look out over the sea or on a boat, and it's light out when it should be dark. You know, it's the middle of the night, and you're thinking this is 4 a.m. It should be dark, and it wasn't. I guess, you know, I wasn't a flat earther back then. This is back before my Mexico trip even, and I just wasn't thinking about these things. I wish I was. But very few people get an opportunity, you know, to go up there. And that's another thing I'd like to say is, like, you know, they always said that, like, most of the population doesn't even live south of zero, you know. So that's something to think about. Well, you know, down in the south. I don't want to say hemisphere because I don't want to make any Nathan Oakley mistakes, but I mean, most people live north of the equator.
Do they?
That's what they say, like 90% or more. I know you'd think Brazil and stuff is down there, but there's only...
No, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's Brazil, southern half of Africa is pretty big, but I mean, north is like all of Asia, which is huge. Like, there's a lot of people there, the entire coastline. And it's India there, right? And,
India's, I think, more, perhaps, or it's right on it. But yes, most people live north of zero. So that would also explain why a lot of people didn't know really what was going on down there, and we've kind of had the deck stacked against us in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's probably also just not good fishing conditions in the Antarctics compared to like Bering Sea, where like all of that northern icy area is like all just enormously filled with fish and all that, like always has been, right? Because it keeps freezing over, and then all these fish just can't get fished, and so they then procreate like crazy. Then it kind of melts again, and you can just fish the shit out of it, but they can basically keep surviving there because it's frozen half the year. So,
well, that's really far north, though. I mean, where I fished, where I was on a boat, it definitely, I don't think it really, you might, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of ice in that water there. In the Bering.
Yeah. Bering Sea. But like Bering Sea, that's like,
you might want to check.
Is that north of Russia?
Latitude.
Is that like...
It's off of Alaska, basically the Aleutian Islands.
Right in between.
Dutch Harbor's where we fished out of. That was our dock. And Dutch Harbor's definitely more south than you would think. But the Bering Sea definitely experiences like a different, like more light, during the summer. It was just, I was there from spring until the summer solstice practically. I came back to Portland sometime in June, I think.
Right.
So pretty close to the solstice.
Well, it makes sense. Like if there's a lot of sun, that means that algae will be able to survive better in general. And I mean, there's still a lot of floating ice, like in the northern part, right? In the northern polar areas. Yeah, but I mean, they can literally fish, and it's an open sea. They can go there, and they will probably go there for procreating all that. While in Antarctica, it's kind of different. There's like a lot more huge open sea in between the land areas and that specific icy region. So
I think so.
It's not really as much of a hiding ground and procreation ground for fish, I think, compared to the north. Probably.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, might be some, especially areas that are kind of have islands, right? Because for fish, they still are dependent on like stuff being in proximity to the sunlight. It has to be close enough to the surface for stuff to grow there that they can eat and hide and like do things. So if it's all just deep ocean, then only bottom dwelling creatures and big fish that swim very far are going to be there. So
yeah, I could see that. I mean, I've never been. I've been almost to the equator, but never actually crossed it, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, me neither. I've never been south of the equator.
I was close, though. I was in the Yucatan, which is almost there. I mean, I was down in I was probably down as low as maybe 8-10 latitude. Somewhere like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been pretty far north.
I've always been like, only place I've been is Europe and America, but I mean, that's like when I was a baby one time, that's it. So I've always been in Europe, not really traveled all that much. And I mean, I like the idea, but I mean, now you could just like watch people's videos and get to see the stuff, right?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, we don't have all this money to like do these things, and they kind of take advantage of that. Of course, the trolls, knowing that we don't have the means to. But anyways, who cares? I mean, elevation angles. That's all you need to really talk about at the end of the day. It's
when it concerns the flat Earth. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to go anywhere to figure out the Earth is flat. You don't need to travel the worlds to tell you that, oh, it's really flat. I've traveled the worlds. Like, no.
I know.
You don't need to.
It's like,
That's
so
their
have I.
bluff. It's their bluff, right? No, we traveled the world and we think it's a globe. That's the original trick, right? Supposed explorers sailing around the world. Oh, yeah, they've been everywhere. They know. Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, I wanted to say, before I got too far off topic here, I wanted to point out another thing I wrote down in my notes. This guy the other day was talking about they don't draw circles on maps, for the equal elevate, circle of the equal elevation. And he was trying to make an argument out of that. This is another example of how they'll just like seize upon something like this, something that was misspoken perhaps, or just not realized. And he was trying to use this as some sort of proof. The fact that people don't draw circles on maps when they're trying to figure out where they're at using the sextant method. And he says they just use straight lines from their position to the GP. And so this is like some sort of an argument. And they went on and on about it. Yeah, because you don't need, it's kind of like, I guess, doing the radius of the circle, I would imagine. I don't know. I've never done circumnavigation. I get it. I've watched a lot of videos with tenths. I think I know more about it than the average person, but he just was trying to make this an argument. This is the kind of stuff they do.
Well, the whole thing
about... They don't show me where they draw circles on maps. He was one of those guys who had the Middle Eastern accent that comes on there. And they're just so obstinate about it. And it's like, dude, this is not a great argument you're making, but you're acting like, oh, that's gotcha. We don't draw circles on maps, so therefore what you're trying to say about the sextant and the use of it is completely erroneous. Anyways, I'm done.
What the hell does that even have to do with a circle? I mean, you're going to have a point with a GP, right? That's what it's all about. You're going to have to draw a straight line to that. How are you going to do that on a sphere?
No,
you don't.
That's not. He was just pointing out that people actually, when they do it, they don't put a whole circle from the GP around using a protractor. And I'm just sitting there going, who gives a crap? But that's what they do. They seize upon something like that and act like it's some profound argument. And they're just trying to get Nathan. And Nathan actually admitted that he didn't know. And so basically he even said, I'm eating humble pie now. I didn't know that they don't actually, navigators don't actually draw the whole circle. They just draw a line from the GP to where they took their observation.
How the hell is that then? What does it even matter? Why would he say that?
Because you know what they do. They're just going in there trying to disrupt the talk.
Yeah, but why is he then giving into that? That seems stupid.
Nathan?
Yeah.
Oh, because they always talk about drawing circles on maps, and the fact that people who are actually doing it don't actually draw the whole circle is something he had to concede that he didn't know. Because you know how they're always trying to say that, well, you've never used a sextant. It's like, well, yeah, I mean...
But what does it matter?
Sextant manual, it doesn't matter. It's like, he was just letting the guy have his way at that point, showing that I can be reasonable, I think. Nathan was just like, all right, fine, you got me on that one, so what? It's just like, the 24-hour sun thing. It's like, yeah, okay, fine, 24-hour sun doesn't change a lot of things. It doesn't change second law of thermodynamics. It doesn't change, elevation angles to Polaris. It doesn't change any of that.
Well, all it really does is just urge the question, okay, so now that we've established that, what's the sun? Oh.
Right, yeah, the sun, that actual sun.
What is it? It's like, it's doing this. It's not supposed to do that. We win. Okay, so what's the sun? What's your evidence?
Well, I didn't get it at first for a while when he kept saying that sun, not actual sun, sun, not actual sun. I was like, what? What does he mean? And then I think I asked somebody in chat, but I had kind of figured it out for myself, and I was like, oh, okay, I understand. We don't know what the sun is, of course.
Yeah, and all that the only data that we have about it is all admittedly apparent, right? Angular data is all apparent data. It's all about being seen. The visual of it is the only data there is. It's even like that's logically deduced from the information available. And so there is no data on an actual location. Like it does not exist. Literally.
It suffices for navigation, what you need it for.
Right.
The sun is where it is, and these guys painstakingly went out and mapped the GPs of all the celestials.
The angles.
So that they could get around the ocean without dying.
Right. Angles, and angular consistency, angular distance. JP is all about angular distance
the 90
relations.
degree above you, if there's a celestial above you at 90, you know that's the GP at a given time.
Right.
And you take that down. Most people don't know this stuff. It's pathetic that the trolls, they spend so much time at the channel, you'd think they'd know it in and out, but they act stupid. They're playing stupid. That's my opinion.
Right, because they can't allow it to actually be that simple, because then their globe cosmology doesn't work anymore. Right? It has to, they have to be seen.
They have that, isn't it?
Right. But the fact remains there's only visual data about the lights. There's no actual established Euclidean positions for any of them recorded on any map or anywhere, like except by made up stuff from astronomers that just say, oh, we have this star, it's at this distance. Oh, really?
Right.
Cool. What do you base that on? Oh, upon the assumed size of it versus the then correlating mathematical distance it would have to be in order to be the same size as every other star? Oh, okay. Right. So, completely arbitrarily decided then. And that's it. Like, they don't have actual location data. They did not measure it. It's not available.
Yeah. No, I agree. But there's a disconnect at some point where they're just like, no, this can't be. Or I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to vision these people, what they look like. All I can think of is, like I said earlier, 280 pounds, pale, and in a wheelchair at their desk. I don't know. I'm being mean right now, but
like paraplegic, bear.
Just somebody who just spends all their time at their computer. They have no other life. They don't have a job. They just. I
don't know if they really. I think a lot of them are actually just really bland-looking guys that are kind of young, that are just like realize how fucked up the world is, and they don't have a plan to deal with it, and they don't have parents who get them, and they're just so unbelievably frustrated that they're just like just being puppeted by demons.
That could be, because I used to argue pretty hard for the evolution thing, because I used to study it. I spent a couple years in school taking evolution classes, paleoanthropology classes. And I definitely was a believer, and I would fight tooth and nail with, like, my mom took me to a pastor one time, and I was just like, well, what about this? Fossil evidence here. I knew all this stuff, the foramen magnum, things like, just all kinds of stuff. I really was good at it. I had a map with pins in it of Africa showing all the sites.
Whoa.
With different colors, showing the different types of, Australopithecus that was found in this Lake Turkana, all that stuff.
Bro.
I've read tons of books.
A real fanatic.
I was, because I wanted to know the truth. I've always been looking for truth. That's why I'm such a big flat earther. I'm not like a big content creator, but I'm definitely somebody who's very into the topic, because I've always been looking for truth. I just wanted to know the truth of the world.
Right. Yeah.
But I used to really fight with, like, I just would not take any other, I just wouldn't hear anything but what I wanted to think. And that was when I was young. I became more objective as time went on. But, I understand their mentality is what I'm pointing out a little bit.
Right, well, I get it too. I mean, I had all of it. It's just like you get handed a dream top down. It's like, this is how it is. And then you're working your life on trying to figure out how it all fits. And there's a lot of stuff to keep you busy, but eventually you should catch on. Like, they're all dead ends. It's all just dead ends.
Yes.
And like,
yes,
you don't get a conclusion. You just get more stuff that doesn't give you the conclusion. And then you should be man enough to just admit it, what's real, and then let it go, and then look at the alternative, which is definitely there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how people get into flat Earth too. It's just like you just see enough NASA bullshit, like ridiculous performances and statements, and then it's like surreal. Like, why are they saying this? Like, from a baller perspective, it just doesn't even make any damn sense. And like, at some point, you're gonna have to man up and just admit, like, there's something really, really wrong here. And otherwise, you're just gonna be puppeted around by fools that just tell you what to believe, no matter what.
I love this saying. It was in an investment book I used to own. Had a bunch of sayings. I have it somewhere in storage, but it says, "He who cannot change his mind has little mind to change. And
Nice.
I love that, because it's like you have to be able to change your mind about things. I know that you think you got it down, but you got to always be open-minded and look at things again. And if evidence comes across your radar that doesn't match with what you believe, you can't just resist it and be mad about it. You have to accept it and go forward.
Yeah. Because there's always going to be more. Like, that's the entire point, is that there's always going to be more. It's information, the Akashic record, it's like a fractal. It doesn't matter how deep you dig or how specific you dig, there's always more. Doesn't matter. You could live 1,000 years and you'd still be doing the same damn thing. And it would never end. Never. Just keeps going forever.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, yeah. I remember I watched Owen's show a couple weeks ago where he was talking about that a little bit, talking about how humans do actually change how they do things, but cats don't. You remember that one? Like, a cat will just be a cat. You know, cats have been the same thing forever, but humans, I don't even remember.
I disagree with that too.
I know, I kind of do too. Yeah. I did watch it though. I like Owen. I actually watch him sometimes, but I don't watch him religiously. That's a bad word, but I don't, just simply because, you know,
you're not one of the cultists.
No. Yeah,
it's just joking, Owen. I love you.
Right. I like him too, actually. I like him a lot, but I can't watch every show, you know, because there's certain segments that bore me too much, but I don't even watch all your shows sometimes, you know. It depends, you know, sometimes you'll be going back and forth with somebody, and I'll just skip ahead and be like, okay, enough of that talk. Let's hear the more something later, because we're caught in a rut. It's like a circle for a while. Kind of like we probably did today, you know, talking a lot. But damn, this is a long show.
2.5 hours.
Yeah, I know, we're hitting the 3-hour mark almost. But it's been a great time. I mean, initially I was just kind of like, what am I going to talk about and stuff? And it's kind of like an early bird show, really.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't watch every damn early bird show either. I mean, I do it every day, but I mean, it's mixed results. And it's like, yeah, that's how it's going to be. It's like, I can't even really consider trying to like make every show perfect. It's just not doable. Like, that would be doable if I got like money thrown at me every single day, and then I'd be able to get enough fuel to actually like really up it even more. But now it's just like, now I'm just gonna go with the natural flow, ebb and flow, and sometimes I'm just cranky, and sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I didn't sleep very good. Yeah. So what are you gonna do?
Some of these guys who come in there all the time might just throw you a few bucks in once in a while to supplement your income. That would be helpful. You know, I usually do. Lately, it's been harder for me. But I mean, seriously, that would make a big difference. And I wish people would appreciate if they spend a lot of time there. And it doesn't make sense that they wouldn't. It's just pure hatred, really. That's just evil as can be. It's like, why do you come here then and torture this guy all the time you're here? I mean, you'd think that just that would be worth giving him a few bucks. But it's part of the hatred, I guess. It's really sad, man. I'd like to see things work out better for you.
Thanks, but I mean, it'll be all right, and everything comes and goes, but yeah, these people, I don't know why they do it, because I mean, the second I would be gone, I don't even know if I can stay away from the internet that long. But just imagine that, like, I get some real life-changing shit, and I'm moving away, and I got some full-time job and a study. It's like, no, I am completely gone. Like, these guys wouldn't know what the fuck to do with themselves. They'd still be talking in other people's chat and whining about me for like years and years, and just, have you heard anything of Arwen? Have you heard anything of Arwen? I mean, they would.
Scary, but probably true.
Like, why? I don't get it.
Yeah, they got a vendetta for you. I'll tell you that, because I feel it when I go out there. You know, every once in a while, I'll go to QE or you know, FED. If I get up, I usually get up around 7 a.m. my time. You're usually wrapping up by about that time, and then I'll tune into you a little bit, and then FED. And if I'm awake enough, if I'm on my way up the street to get coffee or something, I'll stop and make a little comment, and then right away, some of these guys that hate you, they're just after me because of you.
Yeah,
and that's crazy to me. I'm just like, really? That's just crazy to me.
Dude,
like, I mean, I get it. You can hold a vendetta. I do too. I hold like a little grudge here and there, but I get over it pretty quickly, you know?
No, but they're not just vendetta. They think that like they're some kind of mafia or something. Like they really think that they're like they're calling shots or something. They think that, oh, we can just bully people away, so we're in power now.
They do that. They absolutely
literally.
I couldn't even fight with them, like say something back to them, without getting booted by Neil, which shocked me. And now when I go back in there, I've come back in more humble, and I just make my comments. And then when they talk to me, I ignore them, because I realize Neil's going to side with them. So what am I going to do? And I like Neil a lot, actually. I think he's got the arguments down, and I don't have any hatred for the guy. You know, I really don't.
I mean, to me, it's just a Renfield. Is like seriously, he behaves like a complete vampire slave. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with that guy. Laugh about it. I mean it dead serious.
I know you do.
I'm sick of it.
I have a sardonic sense of humor.
I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Like, I've been, and I really, really, really made effort to just try to be nice with him. But then as soon as I say, like, dude, I like you, but you can be a bit tiresome. And then he like has a gigantic hissy fit over me saying that, and now he's my enemy, and now he's going around troll forums and like, dude, what the fuck is your fucking problem? Why are you acting that insane to just like, hey, I'm just telling you, like, hey man, I like you, but it can be a bit tiresome. Like, is that just so heart shattering to say that to a person online?
You've seen Train Spotting, right?
Not a lot. I'm not a big fan of that movie.
But you've seen the movie. That actor, the Scottish, I don't know if he's Scottish or not, but the guy Bagby in the story, the guy that was always getting in fights and stuff, and he's crazy. Through the glass over into the second, from the second deck down to the bar floor, and hit a girl. That guy. That's kind of Neil's attitude. It's just like he's like a Francis Bagby. He's just insane. And once he's decided he doesn't like you, he just wants to kill you.
Apparently.
That's him. He's definitely got this, but that's black and white mentality, and I don't like that shit. I don't think black and white. It's not yes or no with me. It's like there's always, a little room for like, it's just not that way. You know what I mean? It just...
Yeah, well, I mean, people can get a bit like that, but he's like that with everything. It's like he's religious like that too, and it's like you can't just have a discussion with him.
I've never tried, honestly. You obviously were on the panel there, so you might have in the after shows and stuff. But
yeah, but then he just started whining about me to everybody. That's been going on for years and years. And then eventually I'm like, I'm just like not going to talk to you anymore. How about that? And I haven't. I've like not talked to him for like 3 years straight. And he would just keep bitching about me. So in a way, he's like one of the first trolls in that sense. Like he did that shit before Tarot even started doing it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't get it, honestly.
Me neither. Like, what the hell did I ever do? Why? I mean...
No, I agree. I mean, once they pushed you, you had the meltdowns with, Flatzoid. You said some things that probably shouldn't have been said.
Yeah, and then I apologized about it.
You said sorry, exactly. And that was unfortunate. I think that was a result of them pushing you for a long time. Yeah, I'm not part of this thing for very long. I mean, I've been a flat earther since 2015, but I wasn't like religiously watching FED up until about 3 years ago, maybe. And so, because I started realizing these guys have got the arguments, and I was sick of Jaren and I was sick of Witsit, just because he does talk a lot of word salad. He's just blah, 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 really fast talker.
But you don't want to hear about electrostatic acceleration.
Right. And he's like, and
it's all proven.
He's annoying. He's straight up annoying. Try to keep up all the time. Always saying that shit to people. And it's like, dude, you're just ad-homming people, and you really are talking fast. And I'm not really getting a lot out of this. I'm not winning any arguments with this stuff. If I want to talk about this flat earth with somebody, and somebody's really challenging me and wants to talk about it, I want some things that are going to be useful, that are actually going to work. Make sense, and just like not make me look like a complete conspirator.
Right.
And Nathan Oakley had that stuff. I was like, wow, these guys are, they got the logic. Yeah, the logic. That's where it's at.
Right, but that's what pulled me in. Like, that's what made me very glad to become part of that whole thing. Is because it's like, it was, I mean, in the beginning, Flat Earth Debates really was like the only place where it really mattered, whether you had like logical backing and whether you understood academics, and it was taken very serious. Like, that's the thing that Nathan did, and like everything gathered around it, including anti-flat earthers. And I'm like, I want to be part of this. This is where it's really at. This is not just storytelling time and imagine this, and like, no, this is arguments. This is real. This is where I need to be.
It's like going to class.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it really is. I mean, you have to spend hours there listening to them go. The 10th man talks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's day in and day out. It's that the information is that complex. It's like you really do have to sit down and put your brain to it.
The celestial navigation, I've talked about that even on my shows. It's always been like really tough to get through. It's like one of those things you just can't get it to fit. Damn it! I have to keep doing it over and over again. And 10th man then arriving and basically doing that for like 2 years straight. That actually enabled me to finally get it. Because apparently I'm really freaking stupid when it comes to celestial navigation. I just wouldn't get it. Just physicality assumption bias or something. It's just like this idea of them being things at distances just jumbled up like the general oversight over what celestial navigation was. It just couldn't get in there. But eventually, it's like going over the routines, and then eventually like you can just repeat the routines in your mind, and then it's like, oh wait, it's just this. It isn't all that stuff that I don't understand. No, it's just this, just these few things, and that's it. Like, that's actually way more simple than I ever thought it was. Like, why didn't I get that?
It's definitely good stuff, and they don't really have. They're on thin ice. All these guys. I don't know why they. I mean, their only hope now is that people are just going to not want to look into it, And I think that's the idea. That's why they censor it. They know that if enough people were to keep, if it was available to them, they would look at it, and a lot of people would come to their senses. And I guess that's just. Well, obviously, that's not what they want. They want you deceived. They want you in the dark. They're the boss. They're going to tell you what to do. Why you don't need to ask questions. Just do what we say. It's easier to lead people when they're stupid, I think. Ignorance is strength, right? From 1984.
Yeah, maybe. But also, they just want the authorship for the cosmology. So America can do its thing, right? Can do the Mars landings and all that.
Well, Russia's trying to do the same stuff, right? I mean, they think they can go to space. I mean, they're kind of in cahoots, right? I mean, China's doing it, India's doing it. That's what makes me nervous, too, about the government. It's like, remember COVID? They all did the same thing. It's like Russia was doing it. Now, they had their own vaccine. It might have just been saline, perhaps. But everybody went lockstep on that, even though there was a couple countries that didn't. But it was like people like us were looking at it with skeptical eyes going, really? Lock down the economy? Just because, like, okay, old people are going to get the flu every year and die, and it's just a matter of time. You're going to drop dead of a heart attack or something. I would say just stay home, be safe, look after yourself. But no, we're going to just lock everything down and borrow a bunch of money, which we know is going to be a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
They all did it. That's just insane to me. I knew it all along. I liked staying home. I liked getting the money. I was getting $4,000 a week. No, wait, $4,000 a month.
Oh, wow.
Because I had the top. Yeah, $1,000 a week. The checks were fat, and I'm just sitting around enjoying life, But I knew. I was just like, this is just, it feels like they're showering the final gifts on us. Like the last Christmas before they're going to send you out into the real world. And I knew. And it's like...
Well, they were doing it to just stall and then, like, first stall the economy and then let the inflation hit, right?
But why?
Because they wanted to ruin it because they wanted to make the transformation to get the ESG system in with the banking. Right? So that everybody can be tagged and become a robot slave, basically. In a neo-communist feudal society. That's the reason.
they don't have to chip you necessarily anymore. Of course, they say they can recognize your face, and every time you look at your phone, you kind of notice you don't do that. But when you turn on your computer, even it's that little square that squares up your face.
Yeah.
It's like they're definitely like doing that, and I guess a lot of people would take that over a chip because it's in the Bible, you know, that whole mark. So it's kind of crazy that they would even think people would take that, knowing that a lot of people have read the Bible and they've seen that part of the Bible.
Right. No, but I'm just saying chip as a general saying, though. It's more like to have a digital system and then like basically make you dependent on that, so that if that is turned off, your life, you literally die because you can't buy food anymore, kind of thing. Right? That's what they wanted to do it for.
Right? They're going to use the excuse that, like, well, you also can't buy fentanyl, right? Because there'll be no cash. How can you buy fentanyl without cash? They'll use good reasons like that, you know?
Yeah, to sell it.
People will accept. Yeah, and they'll say nobody can steal from you anymore. Nobody can rob you online. These are all great things. You'd be like, yeah, nice.
Accept them. Right? Because they can just like, oh, it's all empty. Oh, yeah, it's an emergency measure. We needed to do that. Or, oh, you're locked out. Like, yeah, you did something bad. Because we say you did something bad. It's not like ordered by a judge. We're just like, yeah, we're just deciding that politically now because we can. Because that system allows that to happen. Oh, we didn't tell you that? Oh, yeah. Well, thanks for approving it anyway. Now die. Right? That's why they tried it. It's really a part of that. They did the whole lockdowns and the financial breaking everything up to try to force the ESG in as a next step level of control of like total financial credit score type system, so that they can literally just kill you at the flick of switch, right? It's like a personal nuke system. You can just like, you're dead now. Click, you can't do anything anymore. Right?
But again, I like to point out that they all did it. They all joined hands in it. And that disturbs me. You know, Russia's supposedly our enemy. China's our enemy, supposedly. But yet they all did the same thing. It just goes to show you that they do work together. They are on the same page against us.
Well, it was a UN program, and it's like if they didn't do it, then they wouldn't get certain finances. That's the reason why.
You saw that Trump withdrew from the WHO, right?
Mm-hmm. Big. That's a real bigger.
Awesome?
Yeah.
And when he got that one, he was like, "Oh, that's a big one."
Yeah, it is because it is.
He was smirking on that one. He liked that. When that came across, he was like, "Oh, this is a big one." It was like he was totally thumbing his nose at him at that point. I loved it. That's why everybody loves him, because they hate him.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you gotta know. They hate him.
Yeah,
these
and
people that
they would hate him no matter what, right? They would hate him no matter what. They have for like 8 years, and now he's just like, yeah, and now I'm freaking finishing you off. What you gonna do? Nothing. You're just gonna fall over and die now, right? And everybody's like, yeah, America's back. Hopefully, and a bit of Israel.
They're reaching with the whole Nazi thing. I mean,
so tiresome.
Yeah, I know, right? Nazi. It's just like conspiracy theorist, or some of these other words now that are armed, weaponized terms. You know, it's just, it's a really simple game plan. Unfortunately, most people apparently are really simple-minded because they fall for it. I don't know. I mean, I guess if we, like you say, if we were all like working hard, like had families and had great jobs, we probably wouldn't even be in this topic. But because we are who we are, you know. Back when I got into this, I just got an inheritance. I was just trading stocks to make a little money, and I was just like, basically didn't have to work like you, and I had time. And I was already looking into stuff before that, but then it was just like 100%. And that's what it is. I mean, that's why they do create the world the way it is. You know, they want you to be on the hamster wheel. Your best there for them.
Right, now they want you in a position where you are dependent on them, so that they can, at some point, if necessary, use some political power over you. Like, that's really what it's all about. It's like the end goal of feudalism too, right? Put you in a tight spot so they can just impose their will on you, and you will go along or you'll die, right? That's the entire system. That's the entire objective of feudalism and this neo-feudalism. Just weaken you till you have to obey or die.
Right. No, even I would fall in line at the end of the day. I mean, I have a cat. That's all. That's it. But I do care about my cat, and I wouldn't want to die so that he could be starving or maybe go homeless or something. And I just imagine his mind like freaking out when he doesn't get his food. And so they'd get me there. They'd be like, they can threaten me. And other people have children. Other people have, family or whatever. Or maybe they're just afraid to die. If it was just me, it probably wouldn't be a big thing. I probably would be like, oh, fine, fucking kill me. I don't care. But I do have some things that depend on me. And would definitely, as much as I know and as much as I don't like them, I probably would fall in line if they made it to where I had no choice. Death or that, I would probably just be like, fine, I'll take a shot. I'll do whatever, just to live a little bit longer and hopefully outlive the people that are depending on me. Or not outlive, they outlive me, rather. Wait,
right.
The other way around.
I don't know what I'd do, but I mean, I'd certainly, I'd make it hurt. That's always been my thing. It's like, okay, I'm super peaceful, but if you're coming to get me, I'm gonna, give you a scar that you will never restore from, one way or the other.
Yeah.
I will do that, even if I die, because, I'm not gonna let you just do that. Right?
I agree with that.
So that's always been it.
I do the same. Yeah, I do the same thing. I think what I'd have to do is probably just have a gun and shoot my cat. I'd be like, all right, I'm next. I just don't want to see anybody suffer that depends on me. That's all.
Right.
And they use that against us. They use that.
Right, but I mean, usually in reality, if you show vulnerability to them, that's when the real damage is done. When you then try to go back. So it's usually most of what they do is a bluff anyway, because they can't. It's like the whole what is it? Grasshoppers against ants. That movie example. They don't have that many people. They can't actually do it all. So they're counting on people to just give into it, because then they can keep it under control. If too many people stand up to it, there's nothing they could do. They have to give up. They can never manage that.
They use deception. I brought this up in your chat a while back about the Planet of the Apes, the original old ones with Charlton Heston. And at the end of it, there was 3 movies, I think. And at the end of the final one, they found that there were people living underground. And they were basically the elites. They were the controllers. And they were using deception to fool the apes above. They could create fire, an illusion of fire. They were doing it to him. And it was basically, you actually perked up about that one. You're like, that's interesting. It is an analogy of what's really going on. That's what they're doing. They're using deception, psyops, things like that. And they just spelled it right out in that movie at the end. I wasn't a huge fan of the movie, but I watched them. And that's what they were doing. These guys had mind control. Now, they were actually telepathic somehow. These people that were conjuring up fires and things.
Okay.
That was a little bit over the top. But I mean, you might, check out the final old Planet of the Apes, just the end scenes, just to kind of see what I'm talking about. But they were alluding to that. That's really what they do. They use deception. We do outnumber them. We could take them out, but we're very susceptible to deception. People they want it easy. They don't really want to be bothered much. They realize their life sucks. They got to work and all that, but they're good with it. You know what I mean? As long as nobody messes with them too much, and they'll go along with it. You just need enough deception. But
it's the funny thing, right? I mean, movies about secret services, they're always these super athletic, gymnastical badasses that do impossible moves and just shoot the shit out of everything and get away scot-clean. And it's that has absolutely nothing to do with what those people actually do in reality. But those movies are there to bring you that image so that you will think of them like that. That's literally part of their strategy. And so when they're coming out, there's this Men in Black that come every time, it's aliens, and it's oh my god, they're in bed with them, it's really dangerous. You really think that's real? Or did they just create that story so that you'd be really afraid that there's a secret service aspect that are so powerful they're in bed with aliens that have really powerful tech? That's blatantly a mind control bluff. Designed for you to be scared of Secret Service because they have secret occult powers. That's literally what that idea is there for. It's designed for you to believe that. And it's part of what they do. Agree. That's what they do. It's their
Yes, I agree
thing.
that they use movies. They definitely use movies. It is a propaganda tool. And absolutely, I can totally agree with you there. That's the tool. I mean, why wouldn't they use it for that?
Yeah, it works.
I mean,
it works on tons of people. It's like people don't know what to think about it except for what they saw in the movies, because that's the only way they get in contact with that idea.
Yeah, people really underestimate just how much they want to be in control, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to their folly, to their detriment.
Right, well, they figure it out.
This is downer talk, man. This is downer stuff.
No, it's not. It's fine.
I mean, sort of.
It's
you're like, I can understand why people would just fall asleep. It's like, what can I do? You know, it's like, well, you can know the truth. That would be nice.
Well, just see through it and then realize it's not as much of a threat.
Yeah, there you have it. And on top of that, it's like, hey guys, yeah, ballers, we don't really give a shit. We're not going to change the world. Yeah, we know the truth. We know it's flat. We figured it out for ourselves, and we're good with it. We're done. You know, stop trying to convert us back. It's not happening. It's so game over, guys. And we're not going to go on and change the world. Maybe a little bit, but you know, who cares? We're good.
Yeah, because I mean, we can't change the world. We can only change ourselves, and then the world could change itself by taking our example.
Yeah,
that's the formula that does actually work to some degree, right? If you want to change the world, you have to start with yourself. I mean, Michael Jackson literally made a song about it. You have to make the change yourself, right?
Right now, I'm thinking I better change to. No, I'm not. I mean, I'm just saying I need to get back.
All right. I was kind of thinking of rounding out the show because we've gone almost 3 hours now.
I know, right?
Right, but it's been great.
Yeah, totally.
It's been a really good talk. I've enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, hopefully the guys have too in the chat. I mean, you know, it's been a long one. Hopefully they stuck with us. Yeah, a lot of this stuff we've talked about before, but you can always talk more. And yeah, I mean. Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna continue talking with you over Skype about Dark World stuff and all that whenever the mood arrives, right? Because it comes and goes, it goes in phases, like like several hours straight, and then it's like, okay, now we're just done with it for a while, and that's just perfectly fine. Like, if we don't speak for like a month now or 2 months, like, there's nothing abnormal about that. Don't worry. Oh yeah, exactly. The thing is I got so many. I've told you about my business. You know, I've got all these things going on. I'm trying to make a big move, and I get stressed out, and just like I disappear and just kind of go into myself for a while, and so that's the way that is. It's just life. You know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
You get stressed out, and you want things to work out your way, and when they don't, you know, it's frustrating, and that's a battle. You know, I was letting that carry over into my job for a while, and I was kind of getting in trouble because I was coming to work and kind of losing my temper with people sometimes because I was frustrated with my own life. And you just can't let that happen, because no matter all the work you've done, all the good work you've done, all you have to do is screw up a few times and you're done. Like they'll kick you out. So, you know, it's what have you done for me lately kind of culture, and I'm getting by. You know, it's every day is a learning experience, and I would say that all you guys need to think that way. Just keep learning from life and getting better. Don't stay in the rut.
There's always another challenge. Right? When you're ready, you're only really ready with a challenge when you're ready for the next challenge. Because there will always be one. That's how I see it. Right.
Yep.
Anyway, on that good note, I'd say, I mean, I don't feel like, oh God, we're like complaining about society all the time. Like, no, it's just, you know, it's not even complaining. I don't even feel negative about it. I'm not even talking about it because I just hate it. It's just like, yeah, it's all fucked, but I mean, it's fine. It's okay, right? It's
a lot of people are talking
it's just all about accepting how it is, and then once you are able to accept the depths of things, then you can just move on and move with it, right? Otherwise, you're just gonna stub that toe. You're gonna keep stopping it until you accept, no, like that's a protrusion. There's a thing sticking out. It's just the way you can't get rid of it. You just have to realize it's there and not stub your toe. That's all. That's all you can do.
People are realizing now. You're seeing it right now with the LA fires. You got a lot of actors talking. Like I was watching a guy like Dennis Quaid. He's done a lot of cheesy stuff, but I like him because he's totally talking about like he almost lost his house, and the way he's just talking like a real person about the government and how all the mistakes they've made. It's like a lot of people are waking up, and
yeah,
I
big time.
think that we're in a good place.
It's definitely a moment of transformation. I mean, the Phoenix event has occurred. The Phoenix has arisen, has gone aflame, and it's burning. Like, the darkness is all burning down. It's all just keeps on going. Trump keeps doing this thing and just keeps on going. It's not stopping. And it's like every day, it's like, oh, what is he torching this time? Woohoo!
Yeah.
So, and like, it's been remarkably positive. I'd really expect that at some point there's going to be something really shitty is going to shove in between there, right? But it doesn't really seem to be happening. Like the whole AI thing is maybe a bit of a boondoggle, but it doesn't really seem like it's the thing. It just seemed to be like an option that he's like presenting, and it might not even go through at this point. So it really, everything does look very positive thus far, and I really hope it will be continuing just like that. And we can really just say goodbye to this shitty phase of crazy LGBT nonsense and doublespeak and like absurdly incompetent politicians. Like I can't wait till it's all gone. I really can't wait.
No, you're right. It's good.
Yeah.
It's way more positive right now. Since Biden's been out, Trump's in, everybody feels better right now.
Indeed. Except the nutcases.
And that's fine. They're not important.
Nope. Right. Anyway, yeah, thanks, Glenn. It's been absolutely a blast. Like a full 3-hour show. I really appreciate you coming on and doing the Night Owl show with me on this Thursday. Oh, so yeah, it's past 12 for me. So Wednesday evening, and yeah.
Yep, 3 o'clock here in California, guys.
Yeah. So I guess we might do this again at some point if we're feeling like it. Like, why not?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely, man.
And yeah, you have a great rest of the day there in California, and I'll see you around in the chats.
All right, guys, take it easy.
All right. See you later, man. I'm gonna hang up. All right. Wee woo. All right, let's get my cam back on. Let's get my cam. Oh, is my cam back on? Hold on. Video activate. And I'm back. Let's put the arch back on. And I'm here. Right. So I can take those headphones off. Okay. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed the Night Owl show number 14 with Glenn Blue Pilled Evolution, my pretty long time friend now. Second appearance here on the Night Owl show. It's been my first Night Owl show here on Rumble. Everybody appreciated. See that you guys are going back and forth in the chat, which is fine. Right, we were definitely busy just talking. We were talking about. Right, and I think I'm just gonna round out the show. Let's see. Yeah, there's a bit of a delay. But I mean, it's a 3-hour show. Right. No. So, yeah. Hope everybody enjoyed that 3-hour Night Owl show. This might be the longest Night Owl show I've done thus far. I certainly enjoyed it. It's been an interesting conversation, very dynamic. Hope everybody had a good time watching it. Don't forget to Rogan's it up if you did. Also, after the fact, would be much appreciated. Yeah, please also, if you can, support me through the PayPal, Patreon, Gifts and Go. Links are in the description box below. Or subscribe to my channel, paid subscription. Or send me a super chat in the live chat sometime. Any support would be greatly appreciated, and as you all know, I can really use it. Right, so this was the Night Owl show number 14. Hope everybody has a great evening and night out there. I will be back tomorrow with the Flat Earth Early Bird Show. Hope to see you all then, and until the next video, keep it flat.
For the fakeness, if you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, isn't that? Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being